Well, speaking of that, folks, again, one of the challenges with all these things when we do these lives is, you're going to have technical difficulties. But I'd rather do these live because, again, we get to interact with you guys and hear from you and hear your points of view and all those things. And I think that's important. And I will tell you, one of the things that I started today was because of a video that I got from one of my emails from one of you guys. I thought it was extremely illuminating and gave me a new perspective on some things and kind of changed the direction of how I'm going to approach a couple of different things, or at least my thoughts on a few different things. We'll give everybody a few more minutes to jump in here, and then we'll kind of go over the chat rules, the guidelines, layout format, and kind of go from there. I appreciate everybody. The last few nights have gotten a lot better as far as discourse. It's real simple. I mean, all you got to do is be respectful to each other over in the chat and be respectful to us. And it's as simple as that. I don't care. I don't care what you say or how much you oppose what we're saying. You can voice those, but just do it respectfully. And that's as simple as that. I don't know what to say about it. We're all adults here. So be adults. Yeah, there's rules. We are definitely going to be going over, one thing that reading comments and stuff today, I don't think people understand the term Occam's razor. That's one thing that I'm definitely convinced of. I'll elaborate on that a little bit. And I will tell you, folks, I'm going to try the night before last, Marcus, we did a live. Went 5 hours. We're going to try to keep it a little bit shorter than that. We got courses to teach tomorrow. We'll be teaching tactical carbine. I'll be doing some additional private training as well. So I got an early morning to begin with, but we will try to cover as much ground as we can. All right, so we're 5 minutes in. Let's just go ahead, hit a few of the rules here. Number one, everybody will be respectful of each other, and simple as that. Don't type in all caps. It's super annoying. You're going to get, don't type in all caps. I promise you, I will ignore you if you type in all caps, even with super chats. No cursing, not because I don't appreciate it, but I don't want to give social media any more reason to censor us. Marcus and I are going to talk for a while. I got a couple things that I want to present to you guys and kind of to show you the beginning of the ballistic testing that we're going to be doing. I found some extremely interesting things today, and that's going to continue. And I'm waiting on I got a bunch of different stuff, thousands upon thousands of dollars worth of stuff. We're also looking at running a high-speed camera. We're going to run a high-speed camera, and we're going to provide at least more information, more knowledge, and education. And again, regardless of how all that stuff ends up playing out relevant to this particular case, this is what we do. And I think the more information that we can provide to you. That's what we do on this channel to begin with. We teach firearms. We try to make people more prepared, more knowledgeable, all of those things. Just like I said a few minutes ago, it is a live broadcast, so there are sometimes technical difficulties. So be patient, right? As you guys can see, I'm sure you guys have watched Marcus and I's produced content. We can make it real polished, real nice, but that's just not how it works in the live. And until I get to, 10 producers and all this other stuff, same thing with Marcus. You're just left with our technical abilities and know-how, and that's where we're at. But we're gonna have a good time tonight, and we got a lot to talk about. Marcus, you got anything to say before we jump into this? Because I got some video I want to share with about the earpiece, amongst other things.
Sure. I'll just lead with this. I have a good friend. His name is Ted Nolte. He's probably watching the live stream. He wrote this book, a prior hard charger Marine. Also, he's wrote a series called Gone Feral. And he's got a lot of connections, prior law enforcement, SWAT, and he also has a friend with the state Utah police. And I was asking him his opinion about the autopsy, and because reports, there's this thing circling right now. There's this voice memo of some exchange between official and the coroner or some medical official. They're asking specifically about the autopsy, and I don't know if you've seen it, but the consensus or the confirmation with that voice memo, whatever recording we're listening to, is that there's no autopsy on Charlie Kirk. So I reached out to him and asked him, what do you think about this? Is there any logical reason for this, that so we don't jump straight to conspiracy. Like, I'm always trying to not jump to conspiracy. And my theory is, if it's a conspiracy, it'll come to light if I just try my best to poke at every hole and give it the benefit of the doubt. I shouldn't be able to find the hole, but I'm going to try. And so I asked him, logically, is there any explanation that could make sense? And I'll read exactly what he said. He said, I actually have a buddy with Utah State Police, and there would normally be an autopsy. Because they have determined the homicide to be politically motivated, the FBI has taken over jurisdiction. There will be forensic examination. This will include blood panel for contributory factors, and they will do a ballistic analysis to confirm the recovered slug matches the rifle. Jeff has kept me in the loop a little bit. So, a good answer, thoughtful, brings a little piece to me. I just want to share it with you guys.
So, well, I mean, it seems to be conflicting, right? So they're basically, because I've heard the same thing, and people have contacted me saying that they are familiar with the case and attached to the hospital where he was ultimately taken. And according to those people, there was no autopsy. So are they saying that we're just saying that the locals don't know that there is going to be an autopsy and that an autopsy is going to be handled by federal authorities? Or I really don't know how to make those two ends meet.
Well, there's no clarity on the autopsy, but at least it's understandable that it's not being handled like it would normally be just by Utah State Police because it is a federal case. It's more complicated. So I guess to me it just means there's hope that there is still going to be an autopsy, but it's not going to be handled normally like it would be if this was not a federal case. Gotcha. That's so there's hope. There's no clarity, but at least it's not like hard and done like what's being circulated right now, that there's just going to be no autopsy at all. I think it's just under the awareness of the state Utah Police, it's out of their hands. That's my understanding.
Yeah. Okay.
So there's that. I don't know. With what you have prepared, you said you had something you want to bring up. Is this in relation to the Charlie Kirk assassination, or is this something else?
No, it's in relation to the Charlie Kirk assassination, specifically on whether or not there's an earpiece. So probably a couple of days. As a matter of fact, the very next day after his assassination, myself and again some people that we're really just in a group chat, some smart folks that we've been working together since Butler, collecting information. They share it with me. A lot of the stuff that I end up using, or some of the stuff I end up using, comes from them, and they also kind of, they're just a group of good, smart people. Right off the bat, we were saying that was a necklace, wasn't an earpiece. And I know a lot of information has come out, and at the time, I didn't really feel like it was worth arguing because it didn't seem all that important one way or the other. The only thing that it really mattered or indicated to me was, again, the direction and that energy transfer it indicated, because it is going directly behind Charlie. That tells me that we have a shot from the front. And that was the only thing that I saw that mattered. Now that's shifted a little bit. Because it's an earpiece and the way that people are describing some of the physics of this is pulling over here and it's yanking over here, and they're using something that I think clearly indicates that we have a shot from his 12 o'clock as basically additional proof that there's a shot from other directions. So it becomes much more important. And folks, I already see a bunch of chats and things like that going on, as well as super chats. Number one, we will prioritize the super chats, but I do want to get to as many of the regular chats as I possibly can. And just so you guys know, on this platform, the way this works is I can't look at both, right? So I'm either looking at super chats or I can flip over to the live chats. So I'm probably going to be missing a bunch, but I will try to, we'll do our best to answer as many questions. All right, so real quick, I want to play this video for you guys, and me and Marcus will stop and talk every now and then as this plays. And then, so this is including, I think, pretty definitive evidence that we do not have any earpiece. The other thing I want to show you guys is just a couple of clips from today's very initial baseline ballistic tests. I think you will find interesting. All right, so let's go ahead and play this. All right, so we can see that this picture right here, this picture has been played on a lot of different platforms, and to a lot of people, they're saying, hey, this is an earpiece. And I understand where that's kind of coming from to some extent. But if we look at the length of this, and we're going to look at a real earpiece in a second, and I have several of these devices. I've used them, used to teach surveillance. Anyways, a lot of experience with these earpieces. Once they go in your ear, depending on the type, they are hard to see. But I also want us to just take a look right now and look at the dimensions on this, and the fact that if we're saying, because they are bent, right? They are actually ergonomically formed to fit over your ear, and they have a permanent bend in them. But if we're saying that this apex of this bend over here is what that is, like the rest of this doesn't make sense. This is way too long, and we'll play some more, and I'll show you some more definitive information on this as well. So we can see, right, this is right when Charlie gets hit. I want us to look at this. So I've seen multiple other channels point to, well, look, his security guys have earpieces. They're really hard to see. And I don't disagree with that. They are hard to see. And sort of, I mean, because, we used to make fun of when we were out on doing surveillance in public. We kind of make fun of ourselves, as well as like even like Secret Service and stuff like that. Like, oh, you can't see my earpiece. Never mind that cord hanging down the back of my neck, right? That is actually a pretty obvious portion of this. So you can clearly see that cord that's coming from behind his ear. And here is just moments before Charlie's shot. I want us to pay attention to what's going on here. There is clearly no cord, regardless if you can see an earpiece or not. Every earpiece has to have a cord attached to it. And I think we can see. Now, what we can tell, what we do see in multiple frames that we can verify, is the fact that he does have his necklace on. All right, you see the necklace right there. And we got more frames to show you and more information on that as well. Again, you see this clearly looks like it's most likely it's a little pixelated, but it definitely is more likely to be his necklace as opposed to an earpiece.
Yep.
All right, this is really important here. I want you guys to notice when we have this much motion blur and stuff like this, from the point, all of these earpieces, just like the old telephones, have those recoiling coils in them so that, they stretch out and they spring back. After that, it's a very fine wire that leads to your ear, so that's as invisible as possible. There's nothing about this portion here that we see on Charlie that looks like it matches to the length, the dimensions, or anything else of his earpiece. It does look, however, because it is so white looking, not clear, I think that is very indicative of light reflection and not so much a clear, very fine earpiece that he's wearing. Also, it really doesn't make sense if we think about it, because we can see this earpiece, we can see whatever this is, this object, flying behind him. And folks, you got to understand that that earpiece goes somewhere, and that earpiece goes to a radio. That's what it attaches to. So that is attached down his shirt. When I'm talking about the security guy, it's attached to a radio that goes down his shirt. Even as violent as all of this is, I find it unlikely that it's going to come detached. And some of these actually have locking attachments to where they actually screw on the 3.5 millimeter or whatever connection they have. Last thing you want is your connection to come loose from your radio. So most of the time these have a locking connection. And nothing about this matches with what we have here. All right, we're going to get to this in just a second, but Marcus, tell me your thoughts on some of that right there.
The earpiece thing to me is handled. I mean, to me, it's obvious it's not an earpiece. So, what are people saying that is having them caught up that it's still an earpiece? What's the counter that people are giving you?
There's a couple different arguments. There's a couple different arguments saying, hey, he was hit from behind the ear, and we have the neck piece down here because his radio and his earpiece goes underneath here, that it's basically grabbing it here that's wrapped around, and so it's yanking it out of his ear because this is getting ripped one way and his earpiece is getting ripped another. So that's kind of, from what I've seen,
but the visuals, like, so people are trying to extrapolate some reason to explain the movements of things, but with no data point, with no visual to back that up. It's just, to me, it's...
See, that's where they'll disagree. They disagree with you. They feel like they do have a visual to back it up. It doesn't make sense to me on some of those, but like, it's just a completely different way to interpret it. But I think as we go through this, it is easy to get stuck in the minutia and things that, like I said, I didn't even want to discuss this, but now it's become kind of like, it's become more important than I realize as far as kind of debunking some of these things. So I think, like, we need to get as many facts and show some definitive proof of what is and what isn't. Like, so many things about this that you and I or anybody else out there may look over and say, hey, that's not really that important. I think it ends up being more important than we realize because we're not addressing those head on necessarily. But you guys tell me what you guys think over in the chat, and we'll come back to that. So today, I did start some initial testing. Somebody sent me a video. I thought it was pretty interesting, and something that I hadn't really considered. So, you know, Marcus, you've been around firearms for a really long time. You've been around body armor. So explain to everybody what level 3A body armor is, and you don't have to get technical. I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I'm just saying, generally speaking, level 3A soft body armor, describe that.
Level 3 is, you know,
level
to be honest,
because there's a difference between level 3A and level 3, and that is an important distinction.
Well, I'm as a Marine Corps grunt, they handed me plates. They said wear soft armor. So I still have you know, some of my old armor with me.
Sure.
And what we did is we wear the soft armor underneath that would wrap around, and then we put a plate on top. Yeah. And so the plate would be rated for 30 cal.
4. Yeah.
And then underneath that would be our soft armor that'd be rated for 9 mil and shrapnel, and that's all I knew. So I don't know.
No, fair. So, like, generally speaking, what police officers wear is a level 3A, and what that is designed to do, it's usually going to stop. It's going to stop handgun rounds up to 44 Magnum. Now,
copy that.
And then you have level 3. Level 3 body armor is very different in that it's different than 3A. It will stop up to 30 cal. Non-armor piercing. And then you have level 4, which is specifically designed to stop green tip. And just so people know, 5.56, because it's so much faster and it's a smaller round, it actually defeats body armor more easily than 30 cal, even though 30 cal has a lot more energy typically, depending on muzzle velocities and all those things, right? Here was an important or an interesting thing that because somebody sent me a video or a link to a video, and I think it's you guys can go check it out at some point. I meant to put it in the description below, but I forgot. But it's PORTAC 5.56, and they're testing level 3 soft body armor. That video is 4 or 5 years old, and so they're testing it at close distance, and they shoot it with multiple handguns, and then they shoot it with 5.56, and they shoot it with 7.62 by 39. It was an AK or an AK variant, right? So obviously with 5.56 and 7.62 at close distance, we get exactly what we'd expect, right? It shoots right through it. But then they test it out. Well, let me ask you this. We generally have an idea of level 3A armor capabilities. So it doesn't stop 5.56. It doesn't stop 30 cal. Can we agree to that? Yeah. So
yes.
But yeah. So but how far out?
Well, that's the thing. There's so many different types of rounds, like you were saying, armor piercing, and there's constantly the specifics of that. It sounds like you're way more knowledgeable on it, so I'm happy to listen to you and learn from you. But I just know that it depends a lot on the exact capacity of how that round pierces, shape charges out, or fragments, and it really depends.
100% agreed. 100%. So the long story short of that video is they ended up shooting level 3A old body armor. And folks, 3A body armor has gotten better, thinner, more effective. And again, we'll be doing a lot more testing. And I think you guys will find it interesting, some of the stuff I have coming in. But at 300 yards, so we don't know what 140 looks like, but at 300 yards, I can tell you it stopped both 5.56 and 7.62 by 39. 7.62 by 39 is obviously not 30-06 or even 308. But if it stops 5.56, it most likely is going to stop 308 as well. So I found that a little interesting. And until today, again, I've done a lot of body armor testing. We've sold body armor. I try to stay up with body armor. It's a component of our business, so it only makes sense. But what I didn't know until today, because I looked it up, what are the NIJ standards for testing level 3A body armor and the distance? And that distance is it has to stop those rounds up to basically 5 meters, 16 and a half feet or so. Beyond that, once you get to 20 feet, 30 feet, like if it doesn't stop it, it's not right for that, right? So it gets like there are limitations of what's going on. But I do want to show you guys this video real quick that I made because I found this on accident. I walked up on some of the testing I was doing today, and I thought this was extremely interesting. All right, so I pointed out this gray smudge in my very first video. I've talked about it since. We see it from a couple different angles. It shows up in multiple frames. It's not an artifact. It's staying in the exact same spot with the shirt. There's nothing really strange about it. Now, I mean, there is definitely a lot of things strange about it, but. Oh,
I got your point.
Folks, I do want you, I don't know if you can see it, but I do want you to notice that steel plate that's next to the torso. That's a 66% size steel plate. So it's not even a full size 20 by 40. It's 30% smaller. That's going to be relevant here in just a few minutes. All right, so this gun's hot. We're going to go live. We're going to shoot this body armor, and then we're going to go take a look at, see what kind of results that we get from shooting it. All right, I can see we got a dead center mass. And you guys remember that 66% silhouette down there, right? Just to kind of demonstrate whether or not that is a difficult shot, what we're gonna do is we're gonna shoot that 140 yards standing offhand. Let's see if we can do it.
Nice.
Standing offhand, 140 yards. Folks, you guys can see right here where I actually hit that. All right, that's standing offhand, 140 yards. It's not a hard shot.
That's like a nice shot.
Standing offhand is a hard shot.
Yes.
But 140 yards in the prone, not hard at all. Wow. I just want everybody to notice that sure looks a lot like what we saw on the top corner of Charlie Kirk's shirt. We got more testing to do.
Look at that.
I mean, you can't tell me that doesn't look an awful lot like what we're seeing there. We got some more testing to do. Today's results were interesting, and trust me, we got a lot more coming. So
you did that today?
I did that like 30 minutes ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Good stuff.
Well, I was looking at portions of those guys' video, and I started pulling and clipping portions. And I was like, wait a second, idiot. I was like, you got a freaking clear ballistics dummy over there. You got a piece of body armor over there that's level 3A. That's not a 30-06, but it's 308. And by the way, I got muzzle velocity. It's a 168 grain cartridge. We got some good baseline data, to say the least, and it was interesting to see what that does at 140 yards, and I got a lot more coming. So
nice work. Good job.
I think you guys will continue to find that interesting. But yeah, and one of the things people always talk about, because I'm not, they're definitely, look, I got lots of videos on my channel with me shooting. I don't want to make this channel when I'm shooting about me, like, oh, look how good Gary can shoot. So people are like, Gary, you never shoot. Well, yeah, it's not what it's about. Like, I can get out there and I can showboat and do all the things. And, and the other thing too is, like, I don't believe half the stuff I see when people are shooting, because half of it's, a trick of YouTube, right? We can, how many takes did some of the stuff that people do out there, actually take? And then, so I try not to make this channel about that, to say the least. But hopefully that makes a lot of sense as far as, the big thing is that wire, man, and the idea that it's the necklace. It is not an earpiece. There is zero evidence that Charlie Kirk ever had an earpiece. If he did have an earpiece, it would be extremely obvious to me. So I don't know.
Yeah, and in a way, it feels to me, it's always felt like if he had body armor, that would also be something that would be extremely obvious to me, which is this is what makes it so such a perplexing aspect of this, is that it's been so hard to confirm. On top of the thing you've pointed out, which is the fact that they could have an NDA keeping them from basically revealing that the 100% full truth of it.
So I'll say this.
Just adds to complexity.
I'll say this. I'm 90+% sure I know exactly what it was wearing. I got it on order. I will tell you one thing that was surprising to me, and this is a full vest. I still got it right over there. So this is like a full vest, and I put it on the dummy. And I was actually surprised at how little I could see of that. And I'm not showing you guys everything intentionally, because it's just the beginning of some of this testing. But let me see. Let me show you when I'm walking up to the dummy. Like, and again, I have footage where I talk a little bit about this. Like, this has straps, folks. Like, this body armor has straps. The body armor that I think that's very possible that Charlie Kirk was wearing doesn't have straps, and it's actually pretty easily concealed underneath this. We'll cover that more. That's really not what this show's about, and I don't want people to get distracted of arguing with me whether or not he had body armor on.
Well, it's important.
It is important.
It's important. This is your live stream, your channel, your audience, and this is your perspective. They're coming to hear from Gary, and this is a big part of, since day one of a position you've held, which is not, no one can say 100% sure unless they were there in the car taking it off him at the hospital.
Yeah.
No one knows for sure, so we cannot fully take it off the table. And if you have some new evidence, or you're ordering something that I'm super curious to hear about or see what you find out.
Well, I will also say in the new footage that we went through from that we saw the other day, or day before yesterday, that we played, not the one from the front, but from the back. Man, I'll tell you, from the back there too, it looks like he has a body armor panel preventing a pass through. And I'll tell you, just being honest with you guys, I think a little bit of that, my theory is, hey, I still think that we hit an edge of body armor, deflected upward. But then also, when you see the new footage from the side and you see how much deformation we have in the back, it also, that kind of contradicts those two trajectories, to be honest with you, unless the bullet split and, it hits something one way and one the other. When we have bullets splitting and doing weird trajectories, it makes more sense if the bullet's slowed down. Because like you and I talked about, like, bone doesn't have a lot of freaking ballistic resistance. Now, if it's slower, of course, now we can start getting deflections and things like that. But we typically don't see huge deflections of
not all bones are created equal too. Some bones in the body are way, way harder than others. So.
I agree, but not all bullets and projectiles are created equal either. So when we have a heavier bullet coming out of a 30 caliber, that's when we see less kind of weird things. Sure, we can kind of see some weird things with 5.56, some of these smaller bullets. But I agree. I don't know if that ends up being true. But what I am going to do is we're going to be doing some testing, and And no matter what, when we do some testing, whatever we find out, confirming, denying that particular point of the aspect, and that's like 10% of what I actually want to test. Whether or not we can confirm or deny that, whatever we find in the testing, I think is relevant to this case, but also making everybody a little bit smarter and more educated on ballistics in general, including me. Like, I don't ever sit down and look at, I've never even thought about testing like level 3 at distance at 100 yards with a round that it wasn't supposed to stop. And then, okay, we got what 30 cal rounds. Does it stop, when we're talking about a ballistic tip, or if we're talking about a hunting round or a soft point, does it stop that? Does it allow other ones to go through at 130 yards, 140 yards? Like, there's a lot. And the problem here is that there's a lot of misinformation. A lot of these conspiracy theories started because we're starting off with a baseline of bad information. That's the problem. It's like, no, he could have never he could have never made that shot because 140 yards is too long of a shot. There's where we have a divergent from the truth, number one. No, he could have never done that because it would take too long to put the gun together. Number two, we find that we know that's not true. Number three, we know he didn't do it because he got off the roof without the rifle. We now find that's not true. It's very clear that he has the rifle.
The last big one, which is, he was definitely shot from the right because you can see the blood splatter of an entrance wound to the head or behind the ear, and then the whole theory is built off that. But it turns out it's not blood splatter; it's a necklace, most likely.
Yeah, and I mean, that's, again, we're using bad information or bad assumptions to lead us to other assumptions that are obviously going to be bad. I mean, I think we can rule out, if we can at least say, hey, look, this isn't blood spatter, this isn't an earpiece. Number one, we now have some potential facts, and from there we can make better assumptions. That's what this is about, and that's what I think you and I are doing when we're kind of going through and just saying, hey, this is your theory. I get it. I understand where you're coming from. But at the same time, here's all the evidence that says that isn't true. And I definitely want to hit hard and fast the exploding microphone. We don't necessarily have to get into that right now, but I think it's definitely relevant.
One thing, Gary, before you move on from this, those tests you did today, just some clarification questions. So that dummy, whatever was under that white shirt, that was level 3A armor that you had.
That was level 3A armor.
And did the round go through and through?
You're gonna have to wait to see.
Okay, got it. I was wondering.
We got a lot. We got a lot more interesting stuff coming. I want to be able to like present it all in one thing, or at least not just a little bit of footage that I got today.
I'm excited to hear because of your conviction with this, I think, is leading you to expand upon and test this in a way, in a level of rigor that I wouldn't. So I'm really curious to find out your results. But that hole that you captured with the marking that looks very similar to the video under the collar.
Yeah.
It looks like, around the shirt it's burnt a little bit from the speed. Is that, am I correct in assuming that?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, that's what I literally thought it was like the very similar, either one or two things. We hit something to where we basically get some scorching, or like you shot paper targets. Every time you shoot a paper target, you see exactly what you see there.
Yeah.
I've never shot a white t-shirt to see if that same thing comes up. And honestly, when I was shooting that, I didn't even think about that. I was concentrating on other things. And then when I walked up, I'm like, there's just one more piece of confirmation evidence that says that, potentially. And look, I want to prove myself wrong. I really do. Because I'll tell you, again, when we look at, and I'm sure you have it, I know I have it somewhere, the new footage that we saw off of, was something on fire.
Jesse on Fire.
Jesse on Fire. All right. That new footage where we see the back of his profile, it looks like that round goes into here and then it hits his, basically just above his neck, which I would say is contradictory evidence against a round hitting a plate and going upward. I would say that. So but I also
True.
have found some additional new evidence that I think is very clear that at a minimum he was wearing level 3A plates or level 3A body armor. And I'm going to show that to everybody at some point. It's not quite ready.
Two more questions, Gary.
Yep.
At the one of the very first videos you released on this whole matter, you told me that you got a message or you were in conversation with somebody that was knew somebody from his security team that said that he was wearing body armor more and more. Could you just for clarification remind me of that source, that contact, his relationship to the security team, and the credibility or reliability of that message, and just
So
remind me what it said?
This is a pretty darn well known investigator that we see on Twitter, and I had seen where he had contact with TPUSA. And then I reached out to him. I was like, hey, I know you have contact with TPUSA. I'm trying to confirm or deny whether or not he had body armor. He immediately responded like, hey, yeah, I know one of the security guys on his detail. And he said that he was wearing body armor all the time. I could probably find those messages.
I remember watching that immediately, and that point, was a significant kind of data point into my first analysis, because that to me is important. I mean, trying to paint a picture to make sense of all this, if he was wearing body armor, it could explain so much about how much of that kinetic energy was absorbed and reduced to explain how there was no exit wound. But like you're doing, I'm trying to prove myself wrong, basically. Like, if the way I see it is, I should be able to pick this apart, my own theory or your theory, from every single angle, and if it's right, it should hold up in every single test. I shouldn't be able to find a flaw. And other than the pictures, everything else about this theory does make a lot of sense. So I'm looking forward to hearing what your results are after you test whatever ballistics armor you have ordered. I'm super curious, honestly. And I also want to speculate, what else could that mark on the collar? It's clearly there. There's clearly some kind of mark. I thought maybe it was blood. What else could it be if it's not, scorched fragmentation or a scorched part of the T-shirt from the entry of the round?
I think it's exactly I don't necessarily even think it's scorched or anything. It's just a mark from the bullet, just like I showed you on the T-shirt or the dummy, right? So that's what I think it is. What else it could be, I have a hard time explaining, because I don't think it's blood. I think we would see a linear, because that shirt's in motion the whole time, right? So if we just had like some sort of contact with the wound and we had blood coming off there, and I will also say, and it's really hard to see, it looks gray. It doesn't look red. But
True.
That's hard to see too. Like, I don't think that me saying that makes it definitive in any way either. It's very, very difficult to see, and I'll be the first to admit that.
I mean, I'd like to hear from people in the chats. What could it be other than blood or other than a hole from the round? There's got to be some other explanations that I'm not thinking of, and
Sure.
I would love to hear from
Yep.
everyone here, whoever. I'm sure there's some ideas that people could enlighten me with, or at least point me in a direction of thought that could lead to some other explanation, because I have a suspicion there is an explanation I'm not thinking of.
Yeah.
What that could
The
be.
explanation is it hit body armor underneath.
But then I'm trying to prove you wrong. If I shouldn't be able to.
We'll see.
Imagine if you're right at the end of this, after all the people giving you shit, like, Gary,
I don't
let
care.
it go. You're
You know
in
what? I
denial,
don't
Gary.
care.
You're in
I
denial.
genuinely don't care, and I had completely abandoned it. I was like, you know what? At this point, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What matters is us getting to the truth, and that is still what matters. And I think ultimately, while it explains some things that we haven't seen explained, it also helps us. It also, regardless of whether he was wearing body armor or not, I think the physics say, hey, look, he was shot from the front. Nothing there proves whether or not Robinson actually is the one that pulled the trigger. So far, I haven't seen any credible evidence that says he wasn't, but we at least I think it gives us a direction from where it happened.
Yeah.
Ultimately, whether or not Charlie Kirk was wearing body armor or not is not going to be enough to convict him or set him free or anything else. I think it's everybody, with everybody that's looking at this, the big thing that is the biggest mystery is the physics and the ballistics. Like, we have a hard time explaining why a 30-06 round didn't go through a fairly thin man's neck. I don't care, any human neck. At the end of the day, there's not that much muscle. This is not a dense piece of material. It's, anywhere from 6 to 10 inches thick, depending on if you're a woman or a man. Even if it actually hits vertebrae, we would expect to see something. And then on top of that, the idea that, we have a round go in, hit some sort of vertebrae, and then just parallel the spine. I have a hard time wrapping my head around that too. So every time we get a new explanation of the ballistics, it seems like it adds more mystery, and it also makes less sense. A human neck is not a deer neck. Like, it is not, this long and supporting an animal walking on all fours. It is very, very different. Like, we would not expect to see. Now, there are other explanations of that. I just found today there's definitely low recoil loads for 30-06, and now we're talking about, I think it said the muzzle velocity of those was like 1,600 feet per second. And so there's a plethora of other explanations. It just seems like those are less likely, but it doesn't mean that there isn't a good explanation for the ballistics. But even with the physics, when we see Charlie, the thing that's so disturbing about this, especially when you look at it in slow motion, the guy was hit with a freaking bus. Like, the amount of energy that was transferred to his body, which is even hard to explain if we just are shot directly with 30 cal. Like, we'd kind of expect it to be so quick, go through and pass. But if we dispensed a bunch of that energy on something that had ballistic resistance and transferred most of that or a lot of that energy to his body, it makes sense. What I do know for sure is that what we see isn't because it hit his cross or his necklace. Or what I also can tell you from spending a lot of time and having a lot of experience with explosives is what we're not seeing is a high explosive on his chest. What we see is clearly a gunshot, a very dramatic gunshot. And, that's kind of where I'm at with a lot of that. I don't want to derail this too much. One of the things we did want to talk about tonight was the ICE facility shooting. Unless you had something else you wanted to say. I didn't mean to cut you off, Marcus.
It's okay. It's okay. I know you're leading this train and got to keep it going. But I do think it's not derailing anything. I think this is important because I just want to remind everyone, and really myself, that why are we so stuck on this? Why is it so important? Why is this a big deal? Are we wasting time? I think because if we find out this to be true, if we find out that there is some body armor or something else that could have absorbed all that energy, then all of a sudden the official story becomes a lot easier to believe, and then therefore a lot easier for everyone to move on, a lot easier for us to put this down, to put it at rest. But at the moment, it's so bizarre for us to believe that this was a direct hit from a 30-06 to the neck.
Well, the other problem that it creates too, though, is that why did TPUSA lie to us? Because now they're official.
Did they? Well,
I'm just saying, if we confirm that he was wearing some sort of body armor. Because again, what we definitely saw multiple statements come out at the beginning that from various sources that he was wearing body armor. Megyn Kelly sitting there right in front of Mike McCoy. He never says anything. He almost head nods confirming, he'd gotten really bad. And that he was wearing body armor. We see a news investigation saying that a federal agent told him that, hey, we're investigating the fact that, we think he hit his body armor and that it deflected upward. And he heard that directly from, and what I assume he said federal agent. So I assume it was a FBI. So we had multiple reports saying that he was wearing body armor all the time. And then all of a sudden, it seems like there was an evolution to that story where they started backtracking on it.
Yeah.
Like, no, he wasn't wearing body armor. He wouldn't wear body armor. What I will say that you astutely brought up, because we did hear this, and I haven't been able to track down the source in that. I think it came from the chat. I think you're right. But we did hear somebody say that he wasn't wearing body armor because the company supplying body armor quit supplying that. If anybody can find if that came from any official source, I would like to hear that.
I don't understand what that means at all.
I don't
because
either.
they're not just because they're not. Maybe the way I took that is they maybe stopped production of a certain model or a certain product.
It sounded like they finished sponsoring. Like, hey, we're no longer sponsoring your program. That's kind of the way I took it.
Oh, interesting. I'm to be honest, I don't know, because if once you find a good piece of body armor that works, that you like, you don't just change it out like a t-shirt. You wear that again and again and again. So I imagine if Charlie did have something that he liked, if he would stick with it, he would wear it again and again. Again, I know it was important to his wife. I knew as you grow in notoriety and more death threats, it becomes more and more important. So I can't imagine it's something he would want to change out or just stop wearing because of a sponsorship. And then two, it's more important as it becomes more famous and receives more and more attention, dealing with more and more crazy people, more risk of this happening. He would wear it more and more and more. So
sure.
Would it be fair to say, Gary, that there's definitely times he did wear body armor at any of his events?
I don't know.
Even just one.
I don't know.
Okay, so that would be interesting.
It wasn't something that we really. I mean, it seems like, again, we have conflicting reports. Like, either he was wearing body armor regularly, or he didn't wear body armor ever. Like, I don't know that. Like, yeah. I don't know that you can make those two things make sense, right? We can't reconcile those two statements, and we've heard both. That's the problem. We've heard both.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, and like you said at the beginning, there was a wave of people saying yes, and then all of a sudden something shifted. Like you said, then there was this wave of new information or sources basically saying, retracting, basically saying, no, of course not, obviously not. Where it's like, wait, it's not so obvious. Just yesterday, everyone was saying he was. And so here we are back to it. I mean, it's important. If there's anybody that has a definitive answer, I think it's so important that, we keep talking about it, because otherwise I think me and you will just keep harping on it until we get a definitive answer, because I'm stubborn as hell. I don't let things go. I want to know. I don't just, and I get a sense you're the same kind of personality as we're stubborn. I want to, I don't care how many people say I'm crazy or not. I want to know that this is true or not, because it's important. It's important to understand how this official story makes sense, because right now it's a big missing piece to believe that 140 yards, a direct shot from a 30-06 to the neck, doesn't go through and through.
Yeah.
That's
a mystery.
More than half the world right now, and including me, is waiting on an answer for this.
Well, and that's the thing too, is like, just like we talked about on our last show. Look, you can dismiss. I absolutely believe, as we discussed in our last show, that there's a pattern here that I think we need to look at the government potentially, or some sort of entity out there, intentionally radicalizing people and pointing them in the direction of certain targets, right? Potential targets. So I think there's that. Then we also have the just the fact that crazy people do crazy things. I mean, we can't say that every single mass shooting or an attack on a politician or whatever is a big government conspiracy. Some of those are probably more random than we think, and just human nature doing the weird things that human nature does. But and I still don't 100% know where this falls in all of that. What I do know is that, or what I do believe, is that it's easier to radicalize somebody, point them in a direction, and get them to do things more easily than we think. And I think that's actually more simpler than creating some sort of big grand conspiracy where you have like two hidden shooters, the patsy, and in front of like thousands of people, all with, you know, surveillance footage, all these people having cell phones to catch things, you know, snipers dressed as bushes up on the landing, like camera guns, iPhone guns. Like there's a whole lot of reasons that doesn't make sense. And I don't know if this is one of those random cases. What I do think is that there would be a lot less conspiracy involved here if what we saw was what we expected to see. And that is, hey, you know what? He took a round to the neck. We had this freaking huge exit wound like we would expect to see with 30-06. So unfortunately, this is the sun, this one aspect is the sun at which all of these other things are kind of circling around. And they're the source of that one thing is kind of the source of all these other things. And I don't know if any of these other things are true or not, but if we can prove or we find out that it is at least potentially possible that he's wearing some sort of armor that changed the normal ballistic signature of what we would expect, then some things might make a little bit more sense. So
yeah,
and
I just want an answer that makes sense. I mean, you said something that I will push back on a little bit.
Push it real good.
Is that you said, how did you phrase it? You said we want to see what we expect to see, and I'll just say that, and I'm sure you probably, if I explain what I'm trying to say, you probably end up agreeing with me. Is that I don't even need to see what I would have expected to see. I expect actually unexpected things with any violent case scenario, any kind of thing. I always expect the unexpected. I think there's always going to be something that shocks me that I didn't see and I can learn from, and I'm fine with that. But the physics of a 140-yard direct shot from a 30-06 to the neck, that doesn't make sense. Does it make more sense to me than a second shooter from behind? Yes. That's why my position from the very beginning has been there's no second shooter.
Forget about whether or not it makes sense. There's more evidence for that. Like there's like some anomalies that we are having a hard time explaining, but there's more evidence for that than, you know, somebody shooting from an oblique angle off to Charlie's 4 o'clock or wherever. So no, and what I would say is, like, I think you and I need to concede that it's understandable. It's not that we don't. It's not that we want to see what we expect to see, but all I'm saying is that it's understandable that people's doubts, radars, and conspiracy theories arise when we see almost the exact opposite of what we expect. I think.
Yeah.
I think if you shot 1,000 people, and folks, this is a completely hypothetical. I'm just saying that if you shot 1,000 people in the neck with 30-06, like way less than 1% would be something that we couldn't explain. That's what I'm saying. And that's if we mixed a bunch of rounds and again, and that's the other thing too, is like everybody out there is so used to you shooting 30-06 with a hunting round. It's usually going to be a heavy grain bullet with a lot of muzzle velocity. So what they think they're normal is what they see with, you know, a 160 plus grain bullet shooting at 2,800 feet per second. Well, folks, I found out, I didn't know. There's 30-06 rounds that you can get that are low recoil, that are definitely much less capable than that. And no matter what you would expect, no matter how much experience you have shooting 30-06, there are definitely ammunition options out there that would, if somebody shot it, you're like, oh, I wasn't expecting to see that. Whatever that ends up being.
Yes.
So that's why we keep coming back to this.
I keep coming back to wanting more from the FBI, because what if he went, when he grabbed his grandpa's 30-06, his grandpa also had some really old 30-06 rounds, and he's thinking, you know what? I could go buy some fresh ones at the store, but that could, you know, increase my overall digital and forensic footprint as I'm going around to gun stores. Because he wanted to get away with this. I think that's pretty clear. He had a desire to get away with this, so he would have thought through some things. He could think, okay, maybe go to the store and buy some up-to-date, new, state-of-the-art 30-06 rounds, or I could just use my grandpa's old one here and just aim center mass, and at 140 yards I'll probably hit. And maybe those old ones are just really, really sub-performing rounds. Is that possible?
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. What I think is more likely
What's more
is
likely?
what I think is more likely is that if his grandpa had taken him shooting a bunch, he went and stocked up on a bunch of freaking low recoil options, and that's what he was used to shooting. That may have been what the gun was zeroed with the last time they went shooting together, or whatever. I think there's a lot of different options out there that could possibly explain, but until we do some testing and can sort of at least closely replicate what we're seeing, I think it becomes really, really hard to do. And the problem is that the problem is we're getting conflicting information. I think
Could
that's
you, could I request from you when you do your continued and more in-depth testing? Like I know you said you have things coming up and you want to have a full, a full analysis ready to present. Can you compare some of those low recoil end of the, whatever's on the market, something that he likely could have been using, the low recoil 30-06 versions to some of the higher ends, so we could see the difference on the armor.
what I will
and the
say is
ballistic
that
gel.
I have lots of different ammo options coming, and
Okay.
and I was tempted to use my 308. I think the reality is 308, 308, just like with 30-06, there's plenty of rounds that are much more powerful than the lowest. Like there's a big crossover between 308 and 30-06. They shoot the same projectile. The difference is the highest capable rounds at 30-06 shoots will outperform a 308. But if you get up there into the muzzle, a matter of fact, I got some ammo over there, and we've been shooting that, and we actually, for students that come to our courses and have 308, I sell them a lot of that, and that ammo right there is hot. It's like 2950 on 308, which is it's 168 grain shooting 2950. That is right up there with the same performance as 30-06. But I don't want to do that. I'm not going to use 308. I'm going to use a 30-06. I know some people with 30-06. I almost just went ahead and bought one, but I'll probably never use it after this. But I got a friend of mine that has a good 30-06. We're going to do some testing. We're going to shoot a huge variety of rounds, and we're going to be looking at the results of those rounds and kind of attempting to confirm or deny if what we even see is possible, because I think that's the problem, is a lot of people don't even think what we see is possible. And I don't necessarily disagree with them. Going into this, that was the first thing that stood out to me. I'm sure it's probably one of the first things that stood out to you.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's like a 1 in 1,000 shot.
Yeah.
Like I think you would have to shoot a ballistic dummy 1,000 times to get one round that somehow stays in it.
Yeah.
That's kind of what my thinking is. And what's the chances, like you said, pulling a deck of cards of 1,000 cards with this shooter at this time with Charlie Kirk? How did he pull that card? Make that make sense to me, and make me, because I'm almost at the point where I'm like, what? Maybe God's hand is, obviously I'm a Christian, and I am prepared to leave it to God to, God's powerful, almighty hand to say, what? I wanted to leave. I gave Charlie a 1 in 1,000 way out so that, his family could have some kind of, not the worst outcome as far as what they see of him on his way
Sure.
out, laying in a casket. I'm trying to word it as nicely as possible without being
think
gruesome.
At the end of the day, we want answers. Charlie Kirk's family, maybe they already have the answers. Maybe they already know what happened. Maybe not. And unfortunately, what we also see is a lot of people blaming Charlie Kirk's family, blaming his security team, saying they were in on it. And I don't think his family, I think there's zero chance. I mean, I'm seeing all kinds of social media posts talking about how Erica, and she's, just acting, and she might have been in on it. I mean, just these horrendous accusations. I think that is zero chance. Is there some possibility his security team? So the point is part of this is making sure we know what the truth is. If the government's lying to us, we need to get to the truth. If this is plausible and it's most likely that Tyler Robinson, and what we see is what we get, we need to know that too. And the other thing that it does, I think that's really important, is regardless if the government ends up telling us all the truth, they're not going to give us all the information now, folks. That's not even reasonable to expect, given that they're creating a prosecution. But even if at the end of it, they give us all the information, the other thing that I want them to realize is there's people like us out there watching them and saying, hey, you know what? We're going to do everything we can. That if you're trying to pull something funny, we're going to do what we can to expose you and expose your corruption. Because I think
100%.
I think even if we don't find anything amiss here, it serves as a deterrent for the future. I do want to hit what this guy was saying. This is a great comment. I'm not taking comments right now. I just happened to see this one, and it was a great point, and we will definitely get to reading your super chats and going through the live chats as well. Gary, I was watching a video today. The guy was suggesting that the bullet was soft tip, which is why it didn't exit the body. A bullet mushroom and stayed inside the body. Doesn't explain large entry wounds. Thought. I agree with that. That's another thing that I keep going to that is tough to explain. I don't think that entry wound is indicative of an entry wound. And this is another thing that is creating a lot of controversy and conspiracies, right? We're saying, hey, because that's an atypical entry wound, then it must be an exit wound. I think there's a ton of characteristics that an exit wound would, no matter what, would give us, which we've talked about it, in depth, ad nauseum. And we didn't see that with that entry wound. So if we can explain the entry wound and we can potentially explain some of the other ballistics, it'll either confirm or deny kind of what we have. Or if we get to a point to where, like, hey, we've done this testing, none of this still makes sense, I'm with you on the camera gun, man. Like, I'm with you on the freaking drones. I'm with you on an exploding lapel. Like, if I can't convince myself of what I think I'm seeing, then you know what? My mind's open, and I'm open to anything at that point. But I just need to see some evidence. And the other thing is, like, hey, we want to stay evidence-based as possible, but quite frankly, there's not enough. We need more evidence to even back what we believe, whether it's your theories or my theories. Like, it's hard to explain a larger than normal entrance wound. It's hard to explain that we don't have an exit point. It's hard to explain that we're told that the bullet travels down his spine. It's hard to explain what we see in the newest video, where we see like his back completely deformed. And by the way, that sure looks like it's hitting some sort of panel in the back, because we don't see like his scapula. We don't see, like, it seems like it's a contoured down version of what's going on. You know what I mean? It looks like
could the round have smacked his scapula and stretched out like that in a fraction of a fraction of a second?
Everything just looks so smooth.
Yeah.
Like, it looks weird.
It does look weird.
If you shot somebody, if you shot somebody in the chest or the neck or whatever, and it hit high center back, and they had a body armor on that would contain, or even level 3A, something that would contain what we're seeing, that's exactly what I expect to see. I don't know if you have that video handy and you can show that, but that might be.
I can. I mean, you were playing it earlier, so I was thinking maybe you have it.
I actually do, but I have to pull up.
Okay,
hold on.
Let me get on that.
I definitely have it. That's fine.
Because I want to watch it with you again.
While you're doing that, and I appreciate you sending me those files today. Thank you very much. While you're doing that, and I may have this right here. Tell me what you think about let's save the lapel for later. At some point, let's jump over and talk a little bit about what we've found so far when it came to the ICE facility.
Yeah, I've got a good recap for you. Just not wanting to assume what you'd be able to do, and I want to bring as much value as I can. So I spent some time looking at it, but it's really not as interesting as obviously what we have going on with Charlie Kirk. I think this guy seems, like you were saying earlier, some cases are just a crazy guy, and this seems like that. He was a 29-year-old video gamer, kills himself at the end after saying he writes anti-ice on his bullet casings, which is this weird thing we have going on with the past couple shooters of them marking up their kit and their equipment and their weapons with all kinds of messages and quotes and things like that to try to, I guess, explain or perpetuate their narrative that they're going for. But he writes anti-ice on the bullet casings, but then shoots the detainees.
Yeah.
He killed the very people that I guess he was on their side. So I think he was completely out of his mind. Piece of shit. Excuse my language, but it just makes me angry the more I saw him. And he doesn't deserve a second of fame or a second of recognition or a second of anything. I am kind of angry when I was watching it and learning about this case. He seems completely out of his mind. There's nothing about it that I can cling on to other than it being a clear representation of the culture today and this minority or this demographic of 20-year-old video gamer psychos who decide they want to go out, but with a bang, and taking out innocent people with them just in the name of something. But it promotes that they don't really care because he didn't even care what he was shooting at. He just shot at a van and killed the detainees.
So everybody can see this is the footage that we're talking about right here. There
you go.
That looks...
I know what you're going to say.
Oh, I mean, you tell me what you think it looks like.
It waves, though. Like, the way it...
I understand. I mean, that's exactly what body armor does. The reason that body armor is effective is that it basically, it transfers energy. It doesn't allow the energy to come to one point. And
but could you pause it at that first frame where it looks like his scapula is almost about to leave his skin? I'm sorry for being so graphic, guys.
No, that's okay. So the other thing, before we even get to that, like we see no detail of his skeletal anatomy. The other thing I want you guys to notice right here, and this is actually a really good point of this, and there's other shots that show this too, is that I want you to notice how light his shirt is on the arms, and then if we were wearing, let's say there was available just like it's not a tank top, but a sleeveless shirt that had some sort of body armor. This is what this would look like. And we're missing all the detail of his anatomy that we would normally see through a shirt, especially a skinny guy like Charlie. So this is what you're talking about?
No, that
right
one.
There.
That to me is so bizarre. Like a body armor would smooth out over his back way more smoothly than that to me, because it looks so concentrated in one area, just like his shoulder. I
don't think so. I bet if we looked at body armor under high speed, this is exactly what we'd see. We'd see because it stretches. I mean, that's the thing that Kevlar and Aramid and some of the other fabrics do. Yeah, it's going to stretch a lot right there. But if it's protruding that far, I would think that we have broken skin. And
yes,
like we don't see any blood. We don't see any.
Then my pushback in this again, I'm trying like my best to prove you wrong in hopes that I can't. And then if we get to a place where I cannot prove Gary wrong, then we have, then to me I'm sold. So my next argument would be like you're saying is I would expect broken skin and some kind of exit, or at least something that would be visible on the back camera. And I don't know if you saw this, but Candace said she watched the back camera footage and there was absolutely no blood at all in the back.
Yeah.
So then is she and the coroner and the medical examiners who are saying there's no exit wound, then this would mean they're lying.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Candace may not be lying. She may not have seen any blood from the back. We may have some significant skin deformation and things like that, but the body armor helped contain it. What I definitely expect to see is a lot of freaking, like just black and blue, like super bruised. But look at this photo right here, this freeze frame right here. Like this is exactly what we'd expect to see with body armor. Body armor doesn't go down your whole back. The main panels are going to be freaking the chest up. Like this is really strange to me. This doesn't look like human anatomy. Like what sort of delineation do we have on our back that is going to look linear like we see across his back like this? That looks like some sort of armor panel.
To be honest with you, it does. I mean, my wanting to play the opposite side, I'm going to say it may be just one of those instant waves of momentum that's riding down either
Sure.
his shirt or his back. But to be fair to you, it does look like what you're saying.
And I'm willing to say that, like, the fact is when things are this dynamic and when gunshots take place, like things happen and things look so weird and deformed that they're well outside of what we'd expect to see. So, I mean, I'm willing to, relent to that as well. But that looks really strange to me.
Yeah, to be fair to you, it does look like what you're saying.
And again, we never see the outline of his skeletal frame in the back at all. And I want everybody to notice, look at the difference between everything looking at from his sleeves up to right here. And this is not a seam, folks. Like everything from right there at the shoulder point going over. If you were wearing body armor, and you were wearing a sleeveless shirt to contain it, that's exactly what it would look like. And again, we got some things on the way that I think will, I don't know.
I can't wait to see what you got coming.
I was thinking about this, Marcus. I think it'd be really cool, possibly we're going to be going down to a location where we do our long range training to do all this. And I think it might even be cool if we can make it happen to get you down here and you can come down and keep me honest and sanity check me. And if we can make that happen, we can do that together. I think it'd be fun to do. But
I would love to. Let's see. We'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it offline. All right. So you think when it comes to the ice facility, and I'm kind of in agreement with you, I don't know that there's that much to talk about.
I don't think so. I think that the best use of our time here is to continue to try to understand and just, even if we get 1% closer to clarity as far as what could be the truth with Charlie Kirk, I find my instinct is that will be a more valuable conversation than talking about this guy. He apparently was watching videos of Charlie Kirk and the assassination, and that seems to be what kind of ignited his or inspired him to go out and do this, which could be a whole nother conversation about the culture we're in and these kind of this demographic of young men who are deciding to go do these kind of
manipulated.
things.
I think there's a bunch of people out there.
Pent up aggression, anger, evil, people who just want to watch the world burn and see a movement or ride a wave of whatever. They get a spark of confidence. And sometimes that's all you need, just push someone over the edge who's already on the edge, and they just need some reason and to go execute. And that's what I'm seeing with this guy. Is he was on the edge already, and this kind of gave him some kind of just that little bit of a push to say, you know what, why not me? I'm going to go do something. But then he ends up shooting the very people he's claiming that, So that to me just feels like he's just out of his mind.
That's how irony works. Yeah, sounds good. Enough said with that. I think he's definitely a copycat, disturbed guy. Who knows what's going on with that? So let's just go ahead and start hitting some of these chats, folks. And by the way, while we're at it, folks, if you like this content, if you appreciate this, number one, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. But folks, don't just hit the bell icon. On the bell icon, if you click it again, go to all. YouTube has definitely been suppressing the crap out of us. I hear people all the time complaining that, hey, your chat was started, or guys did a live, or you released a new video, and I wasn't even notified. So make sure you hit all, or they're just not going to notify you. All right, that's That's a fact. Same thing with Marcus. Go over to Marcus's page, his YouTube. All his contact information is down below in the description. And go follow us both on X. I think that's one of the best ways and fastest ways to communicate to us and with us is on X. All right, let's hit this first super chat. Al here, thanks for what you do. Never got my prize. Al, we are still getting those out. Most of those have went out. Most people have gotten them, so it may already be in the mail, but I'll double check with Summer to make sure that that yours is taken care of. And if you didn't get it, we'll make sure you get it. But most, I'd say 80% plus have gotten them already. Some people did ask for they asked if they get a size change, if they got pants. We're accommodating people as much as we can. So we will take care of everybody, I promise you. You say Occam's razor, I raise you schizo scalpel. Yeah, somebody earlier, the reason I said that, and I've seen this a bunch, is I've seen where people say, Occam's razor, it was definitely a lapel mic, exploding lapel mic. That's not how Occam's razor work. There is nothing more complex than somehow taking some sort of microphone, making sure it still works, stuffing it full of explosives, and then concealing that. And then when you want to,
yeah, guys,
make it go off. This is not like the pager thing with Israel, right? I understand that's a real thing. Number one, you had state sponsored. They have a much higher level of sophistication. But the other problem that you have with that is that, like, I bet I personally have at least 8 different wireless mics over there, and I use different ones for different events. I bet Charlie's audio guy has a plethora of them. So I guess if you're saying, hey, it was the audio guy, he's tied in with whatever, and you put it on it. But again, that is not the simplest answer. That is probably the most complex answer short of drones, 2 drones, hovering, firing simultaneously. That's not Occam's razor. You take that one.
Would it be possible to assemble and shoot the gun without the screws in it, which may explain him quickly leaving the scene and quick breakdown? Possible, yes, but that thing would just, basically fly apart in your face.
No.
No?
So it's just shooting a barreled action. You could
with no screws?
Action. Yeah. I mean, I got barreled actions over there with nothing. Like all they are is the barrel. I don't have scopes on those ones, but it doesn't have the chassis on it, right? So that's what I'm saying. If you remove the stock, what stays attached to the barrel in the action is the trigger. So what you have is this, and if I grabbed one and showed it to you, this chat would get cut off because YouTube has done it to me before. But potentially you could do that. You would have a really hard time aiming it. I don't think that is plausible.
I don't think that's the question. I think the way I understand it is they're saying you got the stock and the upper receiver.
Yeah.
And put that together. You got 2 screws on each side of the magazine well. And I think the way I took it is not putting those 2 screws in, which make sure the upper receiver is not linked to the stock. And you're saying shoot a 30-06, that thing wouldn't just crack apart?
No.
Wow.
The chassis or the stock, whatever you got on there, doesn't do anything. It just helps you. It just provides yourself something to contact your shoulder pocket and to hold it. You could, and people do. As a matter, like if you ever look at accuracy testing, they have the barrel. It's a accuracy fixture, but it's literally just the barrel, the action, and the trigger stuck to a fixture. They don't put a stock or anything on it. That could work. I don't think it happened because, again, this comes down to an issue of people still believing that he broke it down before he exfilled, right? I don't think that happened. I think he took the 2 minutes that it takes to put two action screws and attach the stock to the barreled action, and then he had it. That was prior to shooting. He could sit there, and that could have taken him 20 minutes. He probably wouldn't have been discovered. The thing is there's a lot of people still believing that he took it apart before he got off the roof because they haven't watched the footage or at least had a good explanation of the footage. So that's where that's coming from. And AK, correct me if I'm wrong. I hope there's both state and federal charges against TR in the trial, make the trial public. So we actually have the charging statements. I'll pull those up in a minute. And I actually have those, and I will definitely pull those up. Can you comment on why folks want conspiracy so bad? I'll let you take that, Marcus.
I think it's obvious. If I follow my immediate nature, I want the conspiracy as well, because I want to believe that there's powerful people that don't want me to know the truth, that are manipulating me, using me as a pawn in their big game. And I think all humans have that kind of superstition, or that feeling of, what if I'm being manipulated? What if I'm being used? What if I'm being made to be a fool in this big game, and someone's benefiting from my stupidity or my ignorance? I think, we all have that fear, because maybe there's some percentage of that on a spectrum of life in this hierarchy game of power, that may be true. And so I'm not in denial of that. I think it's obvious that in some ways I'm being used as a pawn. Even when I was a Marine, I knew I was a pawn. I knew I was a meat shield for the use and to perpetuate the needs of my country, for better and for worse. And I knew that. And so I'm not ignorant to that. It's just a matter of, to what extent, and is it more than I'm signing up for? And so I think everyone's on a spectrum of that. That's where I'm at. And I combat my instinct or my knee-jerk reaction to go straight to conspiracy, in order to find a more accurate depiction of the truth, and to be fair and more impartial with the reality of the world, for one, the way it's always been set up, and then two, my perception of that, how realistic is it? So I think that's answering it for myself, and I think everybody's on a spectrum of that.
While I'm looking for this document and getting ready to pull it up, go through some of the live chats and hit some of those comments.
Sure. If I can't, I don't have the ability to click to them, but if you just pick one, I'll go for it.
I'll do that.
I wish I could. Maybe there's a way in the future.
Well,
I could be like
you should be able to see the live chats, right? Or no, you don't even see those?
I can
there you
see
go.
them.
Take that one.
Why would they place a guy on the roof if someone else took the shot? I don't believe the theory at all. Just curious about the logic to it. Well, that's the thing, is I don't believe, like, the logic to that second shooter theory, to me, doesn't make any sense at all either. So I think we're on the same team. They wouldn't do that. No conspirator of any sense would risk their entire empire collapsing from being caught in a scandal, a giant lie. So acting so recklessly and carelessly by basically hinging it all on this patsy shooter. And the fact that Tyler's still alive is one of the biggest hopes I still have of getting to the bottom of this, because if he's not guilty at all, if he was just like, I'm a patsy, they used me, don't kill me, I think he's going to break eventually in the interrogation, or up until the last minute before they inject whatever poison into his veins. Being that the case unfolds properly and he's convicted as such and he's found guilty, I expect him to crack if he's truly not guilty, and he better rat on all of his co-conspirators, in my opinion.
Yeah, if there are co-conspirators, and I definitely think there are, hopefully they'll get it out of them. All right, so real quick, here's the charging document that we have here. Count 1, aggravated murder, a capital felony in violation of Utah code. So we're definitely seeing Utah, as well as, well, we'll see if...
Hey, Gary, could you zoom in a bit and fill out the screen?
Yep.
That would be easier to read. More. Yep, that's good. Oh, maybe too much.
I may have to knock it down a little bit. All right, there we go. All right.
That's perfect.
Capital felony in violation of Utah code, death penalty, victim targeting enhancement in violation of Utah code. So this looks like all the Utah. This looks like state charges. Violent offense committed in the presence of a child, aggravating factor, count 2. So they are stacking charges. Felony discharge of a firearm causing serious bodily injury. Victim targeting enhancement. Intentionally selected Charlie Kirk because of Tyler James Robinson's belief and perception regarding Charlie Kirk's political expression. Violent offense committed in the presence of a child. Obstruction to justice. Tyler James Robinson with the intent to hinder, delay, or prevent the investigation, apprehension, prosecution, conviction, or punishment of any person regarding conduct that constitutes a criminal offense. Concealed or remove the firearm used to shoot Charlie Kirk, and the conduct that constitutes an offense would be capital felony or first-degree felony. Another obstruction of justice. Let's see what specifically they were talking about there. Destroyed, concealed, or removed the clothing he wore during the shooting, and the conduct that constitutes an offense will be capital felony of first degree. Tampering with a witness. Yep, you guys can read that. Directing his roommate to delete incriminating text and messages. Tampering with a witness. Directing his roommate to stay silent if police question the roommate. Violent offense committed in the presence of a child. Robinson committed criminal homicide in the physical presence of a child younger than 14 years old with the knowledge that a child was present and may have seen or heard the commission of the criminal homicide. Victim targeting enhancement. Robinson intentionally selected Charlie Kirk because of his political expression. Probable cause statement. So there we go. That's what we have coming out of Utah. We do not have. We got more. Hold on. I thought that was it. Well, let's hear the state's narrative. Turning Point USA, a nonprofit organization founded by 2012. Mr. Kirk is well known. His events and comments have garnered a significant number. Mr. Kirk's team, approximately 15 minutes into the event, Mr. Kirk was answering a question about mass shootings by transgender individuals when a gunshot rang out. The bullet struck Mr. Kirk in the neck. He slumped to the ground and almost immediately the bullet's trajectory passed closely to several other individuals beside Mr. Kirk, including the questioner who was standing directly in front of Mr. Kirk. Children were visible near Mr. Kirk's stage when he was shot. At the moment of the shot, UVU police officer was watching the crowd from an elevated vantage point. As soon as he heard the shot, he began to scan the area for positions. He noted a roof area approximately 160 yards from Kirk as a potential shooting position and rushed there to look for evidence. The suspect's shooting position is adjacent to an open, publicly accessible walkway. To access the suspected location, a person must climb over a railing and then drop to the roof only slightly below. The UVU officer climbed over the railing and down onto the roof. He then walked to the suspected shooting position and confirmed a clear shooting corridor between the position and Mr. Kirk's seat. He also noticed markings on the gravel rooftop consistent with the sniper having lain on the roof, impressions in the gravel potentially left by elbows, knees, and feet of a person shooting in a prone position. Police reviewed surveillance from the camera covering the roof and discovered it recorded an individual dressed in dark clothing crossed the railing from the public walkway and dropped onto the roof at approximately 12:15 p.m. Although the individual moved out of the camera's view for a short time, the camera again captured the individual running across the roof, then low crawling to the roof area the UVU officer recognized as where the suspected sniper had dropped into the prone position. After a short time, which matches the known time of the shot, the individual rose and ran off the roof to the northeast. This discovery led to an intensive review of UVU surveillance recordings to attempt to track and identify the suspect. Surveillance revealed the following. At approximately 11:51 a.m., the suspect entered the campus from the north. He is seen wearing a black shirt with an American flag in its center, a dark baseball cap, and large sunglasses. Throughout the surveillance, the suspect keeps his head down and rarely raises his head enough to get a clear glimpse of his face. As he proceeds across the campus, he is seen walking with an unusual gait. The suspect walks with very little bending in his right leg, consistent with a rifle being hidden in his pants. This unusual gait continues until the suspect is seen crossing the railing off the open walkway and onto the roof, where he leaves the camera's view. Camera later captures the suspect as he runs across the roof. All right. They find the wooded area, found a bolt-action rifle wrapped in a towel. The rifle contained one spent round and 3 unspent rounds. This is consistent with the facts the officer observed at the time of immediately after shooting. No shell casings were found on the roof, suggesting a bolt-action rather than auto-loading weapon and only a single round fired. Each round in the rifle contained etched inscriptions as follows. Notices bulge, OWO, what's this? Hey, fascist, catch. Oh, bella chow, bella chow, bella chow, chow, chow. If you read this, you are gay. LMAO. The rifle, ammunition, rounds, and towel were sent to forensic processing. DNA consistent with Robinson's was found on the trigger. See, I wish we had some more information there, like what types of ammunition.
Yes.
Folks, this is available online if you want to read the rest. I'm not going to sit here and read this to you. I can barely read as it is. Police interviewed Robinson's roommate, a biological male who was involved in a romantic relationship with Robinson. The roommate told police, the roommate received messages from Robinson about the shooting and provided those messages to police. We've seen these messages. Just going through here to see if there's anything we haven't seen. Police executed a search warrant on Robinson's residence. During the search, police discovered a shell casing with etchings like the etchings found in the shells in the rifle near UVU. Police also found several targets with bullet holes in Robinson's room. This is new. All right, so this is not something we've seen before. Clearly, he was practicing. So this is part of his planning process. Aggravated murder pertains to Robinson's shooting and killing of Charlie Kirk in the manner that exposed others, in addition to Kirk, to greater risk of death. Witness tampering. All right.
That's important.
That's what we have. That is an interesting piece of information that I hadn't seen before. So we definitely find additional information here. Police have found several targets with bullet holes in Robinson's home. So clearly he was shooting and practicing, and I think that is interesting.
It is. I think one of the most compelling pieces of evidence for against a conspiracy, like a bigger conspiracy, like the things these most people are alluding to now, is the fact that he's still alive in a jail cell. You know, a lot of these conspiracies, the way they play out is the patsy never get a chance to talk. So the fact is, if you have to think, if you were a conspirator, you know, behind the curtains of the world, and you're planning this, would you let this person just sit and risk him spilling the beans in any way and having a moment of weakness and basically, you know, bringing ties back to you? I don't think so.
Yeah, they're so sophisticated they could do everything they talked about, but they couldn't get to Robinson before he was captured by police. That's kind of a stretch.
If they can get to, I don't know where you're at. I don't want to assume where you're at, but if they can get, you know, I just want to say, if they can get to Epstein in his cell, they can get to Robinson in his cell.
And who knows? What I will say is it'll be interesting if, for some reason, he unalives himself.
That will be...
Tim Berry, thank you very much. In your last live stream, you were asked about a guy in a mask tactical gear, and you said it was a bad description, but Candace found the guy who filmed another shooter in a mask and tack in a 223. I haven't seen that footage. I will look for it, Barry. I didn't say that it was that. I was saying that it could potentially be that. And it sounds like it could be a description from the officer that spotted him. I don't know. I haven't seen that footage. And if that footage exists, why is it not made public? Or maybe it is and I just haven't seen it. So it's worth looking into, and it's a good point.
I don't think there's footage. I think it's just radio chatter. I have it somewhere if you want me to pull it up, but it was old.
Yeah, but do we have the footage that Candace is describing?
There's found a guy who filmed another shooter. Oh,
yeah.
Okay, I see what you're saying. No, I don't think that exists. I would love to see it.
Sadly, the Mormons have real footage, Bullet and Charlie Body. Okay. I don't think the Mormons have him, and definitely doesn't have his body.
It's a bold statement, Joshua.
Yeah,
see how it plays out.
Some kind of an implosion in the shirt and a fake wound is as far-fetched as it sounds with this government. Who knows? I didn't see much grieving.
Do you want to tackle the implosion of the microphone?
Yeah, let's talk about that. So you tell me why you think it's implausible, and then
if I could
tell
just
you.
The best thing is using the footage that's recently come out. So I'm pulling it up right now.
Okay.
And okay, I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to show exactly why I think that whole proposing this idea is makes no sense. So we have this new shot, and I'm telling you, as a breacher, anything on the backside of a charge, anything on the backside of a charge is going the opposite direction, fast as hell.
Reaction. Equal and opposite reaction.
Equal and opposite reaction. You know, if this is a charge, if people are saying that the lab is a charge, the first thing to be out of this frame and out of this world is this black piece of thing, whatever's keeping this microphone on the shirt. And that thing hangs on for dear life throughout the whole event. So you cannot convince me that there's a charge, that this is a charge, because I'm telling you that this cap, this piece of metal, whatever's, keeping it on the shirt, that thing would be in space. Of course, I'm exaggerating, but you know what I mean. So that's my simple, to the point explanation for why that theory is ridiculous. What about you?
Yeah, I was going to exactly that. So, so a C4 explosion velocity detonation is approximately 26,500 feet per second. Even if it was a small C4 or other type of high explosive that would be enough to kill a man, just like what he said, we'd see two things. Number one, we'd see anything on the backside of that, whatever that device was that was containing the explosives. If it is directed at his chest, it would actually explode the opposite direction, right? So we would see his shirt blown up. We would see clear evidence. Like, clearly, anyone proposing this has never seen an explosion and know nothing about explosives. One of my good clients, by the way, he's actually does demolition for. Maybe I'll have him on here and we can talk about the implausibility of that, but. Out of all the theories, I think that has the least credibility out of all of them. So,
I think so. Yeah,
and that's saying a lot. That's saying a lot. Are you able to piece some of the different videos together onto one screen so you can go frame by frame and see multiple angles at once? Might give a better insight on exactly what happened. I haven't done that.
I haven't done that either.
Gray Hughes Investigates has done that. I don't know that he goes by frame. I know that a lot of people are resistant to his take on events, and that's fine. But turn the volume off and just go through because he does. He takes all that stuff, he puts it in a timeline, he syncs it all up, he goes through that. So he does a good job with that. And turn the volume off. You interpret all that footage the way that you want. Slow motion before test shot seemed to show something come up and out of the shirt for a split second on his right. I agree with that. I wasn't even going to bring that up, but that is 100% true. It does do that. And what he's talking about, let me see if I can even grab this real quick.
Some kind of fragmentation or?
This is the one. Yeah.
Or
well, no, what he's talking about is, it's the video, the new video from the front. That
the one I was showing?
Yeah, exactly the one that you were showing.
I'll share. I can share it again if you like.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, this one. So if you go on one of those, if you go frame by frame, his shirt goes down and it does look like it exposes an undershirt type of thing.
Undershirt. Well,
yeah, right there, right
here,
right. Yep, right there.
Yeah,
so
it's.
You see the white piece underneath there?
Like
no, on the left side.
Or this.
That piece right there.
Yeah, does look weird.
Does look weird. Does that mean anything more than that? I don't know.
The thing is the fidelity or the definition is so bad that it could be a frame blending artifact. It could be it's so non-definitive because of the quality.
Yep.
I have a trouble making an assessment based on that, but you're right. I see what he's talking about. Let me get a better frame to stay on. Okay. There's a video that was just released on another channel that has HD video of what looks like an explosive on a lapel mic. Can you, if you want to send me the link to the video on Twitter or X,
yep.
I'm happy to take a look, but I guarantee from every angle I can see that black cap stain on his shirt, and that to me is the strongest evidence against the fact that that's an explosive.
Again, I think that anybody that's proposing that has zero clue or experience with explosives and just doesn't know how that works. If you want to send me any information, dlpodcast@ParamountTactical.com. I spent a lot of time this morning going through a lot of emails and stuff like that. So I appreciate them. I can't respond to all of them. But I appreciate them. I tried to respond to as many as I could. Some of it's going to be short and sweet. Thank you very much. Really appreciate your support. Thank you, Gary. Can someone explain the lack of blood trail from CK's body to the SUV? People say that once the heart stopped beating, you stop bleeding, but any hunter knows it's not true. There was still an open wound. Yeah, so again, the other part of that is the first thing they're going to start doing is they're going to be packing that wound. So what they're doing on the backside of that table when he goes down is they are doing basic TCCC, tactical casualty care, right? So they're going to be packing that wound and they're going to stop bleeding. I will also say, yeah, when you hit a deer, depending on where you hit it and things like that, it will continue to bleed, and that's based on gravity, right? Like there's nothing once enough blood has been taken out of the body, which we saw a lot, right? I mean, it was one of the most gruesome things I've ever seen. The blood pressure drops to almost nothing, and then probably almost to nothing. So on top of that, we see that we only have one wound to contend with. If I was moving my son and something similar had happened, you would not see any blood come out, because if you saw any blood coming out, I hadn't done my job as the care provider by packing that wound and stopping the bleeding. So I would not expect to see additional, like they're not just leaving the wound open. So I think that is a super simple explanation. Even if his heart was still bleeding, I mean, it's still beating. So even if his heart was still beating,
I mean,
you should not see additional blood coming out because they've packed the wound. They stopped the bleeding.
that's the first step of any TCCC procedure is stop the bleeding. So
Yep.
I don't know what kind of the credibility of his team would be in question if I could still see bleeding, honestly.
Well, yeah, 100%. And you know, again, this is one of those things where like people draw on a base of knowledge, hunting, and then apply it to this situation, and then it's incorrect. And no offense to you, Nibs, right? You haven't taken TCCC training. You haven't taken some advanced traumatic injury response training, right? So if you don't know that, of course you're going to come to a bad conclusion. And that's what Marcus and I and other people, it's not just us. There's some other folks out there, I think, trying to get truth out there. Can you do CPR on someone wearing body armor? Because Frank Turk said they did CPR on Kirk in the SUV, no mention of removing armor to do so. Well, I mean, just because they didn't mention it didn't mean they didn't do it. And yeah, technically you can do CPR without body armor, especially if it's soft armor. You could potentially even do CPR even if they had plates. It wouldn't be as effective. But just because he didn't mention it doesn't. I mean, I'm sure there's 50 things that happened in that SUV that he didn't mention. I mean, why would he? And then on top of that, if he was told not to discuss the body armor, which I think is also possible, take it.
Love the channel, Gary, but I got to show some love to Marcus this episode. Thank you. Great work, guys. Y'all have done some awesome work covering this. And more importantly, thank you both for your service. That's really nice of you, Austin. Thank you very much. It was my pleasure and honor.
Yeah. No, I completely agree, man. I think Marcus is great to have on. So thank you too, Marcus, for coming on. I'm glad to have you on with us. Add a lot to the show.
I appreciate that.
The plate armor ricochet theory explains large entrance wound, neck and shirt jumping off plate, soft armor capture bullet from exit wound, and rear NDA on armor. Thank you for your work on this. So I disagree with one aspect of that. I don't think it necessarily explains, it could, the necklace jumping off the plate. I think there's other forces involved, and again, yeah. So that one's yours, buddy.
I watch a ton of gun channels moving around to not hit close to the same spot. I've seen a round hit and squirt through the top of the dummy. Hitting the dummy. Okay, I didn't understand that. Moving around to not hit close to the same spot. I've seen a round hit and squirt through the top, hitting the dummy. Michael, I don't really understand what you're saying, to be honest.
I don't know if we're talking about a ballistic dummy. One of the challenges that I'm preparing for is the fact that ballistic dummies aren't super accurate. There's some things that we can get, like, I'm going to have to really narrow down what I think we can and can't test, confirm or deny with a ballistic dummy. It is not the same as a human body. It's not what ballistic gel is. So I'm not sure what you're talking about. If you're talking about some of the ballistic dummies that actually have fluids in them, when I was talking to the guy that where we're getting the ballistic dummies from. He's like, we can actually hook up vessels, and then you can actually pressurize it with a water hose. And then I talked to him a little bit more, and really I was like, so besides it being visual, do you feel like this is really anything close to simulate like human anatomy? And he's like, not really. It's more of a visual thing. And I was like, no, probably not worth it. Brain matter is gray. I agree. Yeah. I don't know if that is a mentioned as an argument for or against what we're seeing, because some people are now saying it is brain matter, but also it is brain matter, but and it's because it's lighter in color, but it doesn't look like that. I don't think that's what we'd see anyhow.
Yeah.
Take it.
I've seen blood so dark from a cut, not light, which is pink or red.
Yeah. So what you're talking about is venous bleeding. In the military, and even in some of the training that we provide, we've done some live tissue stuff, and it's shocking. Like I've seen on one animal where we have an artery cut, and then we have a pretty large vein cut, and that blood is it's just such a huge contrast between the two.
True.
Take that.
Anyone else find it odd that the blood wasn't soaking into the shirt? Seemed like water going off duck's feathers. It does look like that. And that's something I mean, maybe I shouldn't have brushed past, but I assumed, nowadays there's these t-shirts that are made of this kind of like water resistant material. I think it's more common than not nowadays. And I'm assuming that this t-shirt has that kind of quality to it. It's kind of has some kind of water resistant repelling nature, which is not that uncommon now. So I'm kind of assuming that it's something like that. What do you think, Gary?
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know.
That was my guess. It does just look weird.
Could just be like the dynamics of everything. Like, for one, it's like there's so much pressure there that it's missing the shirt entirely. It's going over, so most of what we're seeing is missing the shirt just because of the trajectory of the fluids coming out. So I think there's some of that explains it. It does seem like some falls onto the shirt. I don't know.
Yeah, if you slow down the footage, and obviously that gruesome shot that's close up that we all seen it, I'm sure. If you haven't seen it, I'm sure you can find it. I'm not going to show it anymore, but if you watch it, it does look like the blood is kind of bouncing off his shirt.
Yeah. No, I know. The other thing too is I think we get a little lost in the sauce, or it's lost in the conversation, that like most of us have now sat and watched the slow motion version of this so long that it seems like this really extended event, when in reality it's like, I don't know, 2 seconds, something like that.
That's a good point. That's true.
Could rapid expungement have the movement of armor to move like you showed before, if a high velocity round clean through stopped by body armor? Could. I think like we're definitely going to see more movement if we have ballistic resistance, right? So when we shoot something, and I'm sure deer hunters have seen this, I've seen things shot that we thought it was a miss, didn't move, didn't react, and it like went through and through, and you didn't see that transfer of energy. Whereas when you see body armor, it's much more dramatic, and it does that's one of the things that, like, that didn't look like it just hit him in the neck. I don't think we'd see as much movement as we do. It's very violent. Like, all kinds of things happen. It's a very dynamic and high velocity situation. That's not typically what we see when we shoot something. And again, I guarantee you there's lots of deer hunters out there that shot things with 30 cal, 300 Win Mag, 30-06, 300 PRC, and everything in between. And it's like, you don't even think you hit the thing, or it barely moves or responds to what you think would be take this one.
That's a good point. I appreciate the hard work, guys. Have you considered monolithic bullets like Barney shedding a pedal after hitting armor?
Sure. No, I've considered all those things. Slugs, ballistic tip, varmint rounds, expanding bullets, tumble upon impact. I didn't know that was a thing that existed until just recently. I spent like the last 5 or 6 days just brushing up on and finding different projectiles I didn't know exist and different types of ammo I didn't know exist. And I felt like I pretty have, and I do, I have a really pretty broad knowledge base on that. But you don't know what you don't know. And I didn't know some of these things. The chain seemed to snap in the front and flew around his head, so the bullet did hit him in the front. That caused the chain to snap. I don't think that's necessarily what happened. And I think we have some good physics behind that. So it also could have been, yeah, I don't think that's what happened. I think we have some good physics that tells us what did happen. And even if the bullet did hit the chain, it wouldn't move. Like that has nothing to do. Like it wouldn't. Like I could hang up a chain out there, and I don't know. Maybe I'll do it. Like hang up a chain. Or I can even hang a chain on a dummy, and just make sure I just hit the chain, and see what happens with that. And it's just gonna fall. It goes through it so fast, it's just gonna fall. Suddenly there's links there. Suddenly there's a gap in links, and it falls. That's what it looks like. So I don't think it had anything to do with that. The body armor sponsorship is weird. Don't you advertise items who sponsor you? It's a mixed bag of if you wore the armor. Yeah, Al, the third, 1111. I'm not sure. And as I was, hopefully I was clear. That was brought up. I thought I did see a report on it, but it could just be my brain melding things together, admittedly, that the people providing him body armor stopped providing body armor. And then I went on to speculate that maybe it was a sponsorship or it was just somebody that followed Charlie and was like, hey, because I would, like, if I had a body armor company and, there's somebody I like, I'd contact them like, hey, man, you know what? We'd love if you just wore our body armor. Like, that way you don't have to worry about it. It's the best, it's the best out there. It's going to be comfortable. It's going to save your life. If something bad happens, you just wear it. But then why would they go in and if, like, what do they knock on your door one day and be like, hey, bro, we're going to need that body armor back? Like, you've been wearing it, you're sweating in it. Like, it's not disposable. I agree. The whole thing is weird. Has seen the man's nipples YouTube not let me post to the shirt and the number of pictures from the delay been debunked? No, it hasn't been debunked. I'll give you the next one. I was just taking this because I know it's directed at me. No, it hasn't been debunked. And I will be honest with you. I'm not sure if that's what we're seeing. It does look like that's what we're seeing. I'm not in denial of that. But there are definitely other times when he's sitting down where, like, he does lean back and you don't see the nipples. And, of course, when he's shot, things just don't make sense. And I don't have a good explanation. I don't believe anything had changed. Again, if he's wearing some sort of panel, and you guys look up flexible level 3 plates. You can look up that or semi-rigid plates, things like that. You can look those up. There are level 3 plates that are like 0.19 inches. I do think that there's a possibility where we could be wearing some sort of shirt where, again, his nipples are going to exceed the perimeter of the ballistic protection. And I think that's possible, and I think that's probably the most likely. Again, we got a bunch of stuff coming in to test that I can confirm or deny. I can't tell just looking at it. And by the way, folks, the reason that we're able to do that is because of your support between super chats, the views. I'm putting almost everything that any income that we've come in, we're putting more into that. Like, trust me, I'm not just sitting here. We're not getting rich, by the way, to begin with. But I want to, I don't need the income, the little bit of income. Most of our videos are demonetized. The super chats are super nice, folks. We appreciate those, and I love it. But we're good. Like, we make a good living doing what we do. I don't do this for money. If I had like 3 people listening to me, I'd be doing the exact same thing. So we're going to be putting a bunch of this money back into researching this and trying to get some answers for you guys. So that's where the money's going. Take that.
Can anyone explain why suspect's shadow disappears on roof from CCTV footage, then man sidewalk disappears behind tree? Man on sidewalk disappears behind tree.
I kind of know what they're talking about.
I think I know what they're talking.
Yeah.
I don't know about the man behind the tree or disappearing behind the tree, but I know on the roof
I don't know about the shadow. I know about the man disappearing behind the tree.
Oh, the shadow to me is the same reason why his legs disappear every other frame, and the barrel disappears, or the weapon disappears, is because the pixels are so large compared to him in the frame that as he moves between like contrast backgrounds, I think the computer and the camera's having a hard time picking up detail. So it's just combining, making a pixel that is split between black and white. It makes the pixel just white on all sides, causing his black pant to just disappear for a second. I think it's the same with the shadow.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. The easiest explanation is usually the answer. That is Occam's razor. Charlie Kirk is the new Horst Wessel. I don't know what that reference is. Do you know what Horst Wessel is? Wessel?
Horst. I'm
Horst Wessel.
Horst Wessel was a member of the paramilitary wing of Nazi Party, who became propaganda symbol in Nazi Germany following his murder in 1930. 2 members of the Communist Party of Germany. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
You're lucky.
I don't.
Here, let me see if I can do this. Anyways,
I don't know enough to comment on that. That was just a description from Wikipedia.
He's basically calling Charlie Kirk a Nazi. That's what that was.
I'm hoping not, man. Come on.
Oh, that's exactly what it is.
Jeez.
You're a very hopeful individual.
Talk about the lapel mic theory. I can send you the link to the video in case it's different footage. We have talked about it. And the thing is, if you look at from any angle, there's the lapel mic that's underneath the shirt, the mic, right? And then there's the magnet or piece of metal that's stuck to the top of the shirt that is keeping it in place. And when that explosion happens, I'm telling you, if that was even the smallest amount of C4 or a blasting cap or det cord or anything, that cap would have been out of the frame faster than you can blink. So
yeah.
It stays on there for the ride. There's no way it's an explosive.
And then I'm having a hard time understanding what's the additional theory there? Are we saying that, I don't know. I'm sure this is going to, because of the relationship to the pagers and things like that, clearly this is a theory that comes from the origins of Mossad, right? So what was Tyler Robinson? Was he a misdirection, cover for action? What are we talking about? Like, was he involved? Did he think he was shooting Charlie, but actually Charlie was getting blown to bits by,
I don't know.
Piece
All
of
I know
spy assassination equipment. I don't understand where all that stuff. Why would Tyler Robinson exist if that's what it was? Like, why even need him?
Patsies don't live long, and I don't know. Do your research on any.
But I don't even know why you need a patsy if that's the operation. Like, you're like, okay, I can if that didn't exist and suddenly we're still here, we don't know where a shot came from, we don't know where there's a bunch of things we if we didn't have some of the evidence that we have, and like that was left in a void, like a shot came from somewhere, but all I know is that this man's dead now. Okay. So, yeah, all right, well, maybe it was some sort of explosive device. Well, what's the point? Because, what's the point of Tyler Robinson if it was an explosive device? And that would be so easy to see. Like, there's a big difference between a bullet wound. And then I still don't understand how you explain, the injuries that we see with an explosive device either.
I mean, I'm debating whether I want to go here and entertain this theory. To be honest, should I? Should you?
Oh, hold on. No, more importantly, Stephanie, I have 2 pics from video that shows Charlie Kirk's body armor. I can email them now. Yes, I want you to email those. They're probably ones that I've been looking at over and over and trying to rack my brain and hey, are you just, is this bias confirmation for you? And then I've shown them to other people, and they agree that there's something there. So, yes, please send that, dlpodcast, ParamountTactical.com. Now, sorry, Marcus, I didn't mean to cut you off, but go ahead.
That's okay. I honestly don't want to talk about. I don't want to entertain that theory.
Yeah, I mean,
I could the thing is, if there's if the second shooter thing, if there's this separate entity, this conspirator that's using Tyler as a patsy, then there's a myriad of different tactics and strategies they could use to basically use Tyler as a patsy to take all the fall, but then they have their own way of basically getting the job done. And I think people are suggesting that one could be a second shooter from another window, which we pretty much nailed that coffin. But now people are talking about a lapel mic that's explosive. And of the two things, for me, if you're talking about a separate entity that's co-conspirating and trying to ensure that this mission is completed, an explosion and some kind of explosive device on him that's a guaranteed, to hit and go off where they want it, when they want it, makes more sense to me than in placing an assassin at a perpendicular trajectory to shoot him. That's kind of where my mind's going, and I could entertain that down. We could keep going, but I just think it's kind of a waste of time because it's clearly, if it was an explosive, like I said, that back cat would be gone. So I don't want to make this bigger than it potentially already is.
Yeah, I agree. I think the problem here is that people on YouTube, and I'm sure there's there's some element that we do too, not intentionally, but I think what I can tell you is there's people that use this method a lot and intentionally, and that's the power of suggestion. And I've seen some of the worst people out there, like, all right, guys, I want you to look at what so that they prime your brain, like, guys, all right, take a look at this. All right, here's what you're going to see. And I want you to see how this happens, this happens, this happens. And then they play the video for you. And man, it is convincing as hell. And there's an element to that. Like, there's some people that are really good at that. And then again, I don't know this video, and I don't know what's been manipulated. I've seen definitely manipulated video already. And I'm sure you have too, Marcus.
Yeah.
Where there's suddenly anomalies in this one version of the exact same video that we're not seeing in the other. So I think that needs to be considered as well. Could that mark be gunpowder? No, I think it's. I don't think it's gunpowder. I think it's just the picture the bullet makes when it's just the imprint or the transfer that a bullet makes when it hits something white like that. That I showed it. If you didn't watch at the beginning, I kind of showed what I thought that was. Send it.
Media is pushing it's a lone shooter. Thinking team, period. Tyler's birth cert 1992 ? Also, why there's father-son pair Matt/Tyler Robinson living under 2.5 miles of each other, or why Austin Dean and Tyler James has exact same phone number. It seems like Eric here is trying to, basically piece a bunch of different things together, asking questions. I'm sure you're on to something, Eric. I just don't know exactly what that is. And the media is pushing a lone shooter, and to be honest, I'm pushing it because I'm trying to basically, like, my theory, like I said in the beginning, is if it's false, I should be able to examine it and question it from every single angle, the official story. And it should hold up under physics, logic, proof, evidence. It should hold up under every angle. And that's my goal, because I do think it's destructive to start entertaining to the nth degree theories that don't have any kind of strand of evidence connecting to them. It's just speculation, like the lapel thing or second shooter. And so that is what I'm doing. I'm pushing it, but hopefully for a different reason than some of the media. I don't know what media outlets you're following, but here we're trying to get to the truth. So as far as the other things you're pointing out, I don't think it's weird he's living near his father, living near family. Maybe you find that weird for some reason, and I don't know how you have his phone number. So
what I can tell you for sure is that you'd be surprised at how many Tyler Robinsons are out there. I know this because I was searching him and doing people search and using some background check things that I subscribe to. There's a lot of Tyler Robinsons out there. more than I thought there would be. So, as a matter of fact, one of the early stories when the media was in denial of his leftist ideology, they were talking about the donation records of a Tyler Robinson. And they just said, hey, Tyler Robinson actually donated to the Republican Party or Donald Trump or something along those lines. Come to find out, that was a different Tyler Robinson altogether. So,
There you go.
I mean, there's lots of Tyler Robinsons. I don't think anything you're saying is, would expect to see that. And then let's just say that currently what we know to be true is true. What else would the media, like, even now, what do you expect the media to report on? Do you expect the media to report on, I don't know, drones flying above? I don't know. Look, and let's be real. It doesn't matter if it was completely false narrative. The media today, they're so freaking lazy that they're going to go to the government for the source of information. I think that's wrong to do, and that's why we're not doing that. So, I mean, they're not going to be out there. They're not going to even spend. The average reporter that's working this case has probably spent 1/10 the time that Marcus and I have spent on this. I guarantee it. They're like, oh, I'll just call my source at FBI and they'll tell me what's up.
And you said something last time, Gary, is I forgot how you worded it, but just because it's the official story doesn't mean that it's inherently on the wrong story or it's factually wrong. Yeah. I think it's very dangerous if we allow ourselves to get into a mode of thinking where anything that comes from the media is automatically the lie. Then you're even more susceptible.
That's my default. I'm not going to lie. And my recommended default, nonetheless.
Well, it's not. You just. How do you explain that? I mean,
you need a.
You
I don't
can't
mean to
be
say trust, but verify. But you just need to verify. But the fact is, just to even maintain any bit of credibility, sometimes they're going to get it right. Maybe it's on accident, but I would say this: not everything is a conspiracy. Sometimes, but with that being said, try to see if it's not, and that's what we're doing. Like, we're just keeping an open mind and looking at evidence. I don't know what else to say.
Don't take anything as fact or truth until you analyze it through your own lens and way of thinking, and make sure it aligns with multiple sources and it aligns with facts and truth and physically possible. And just don't instantly result to lie or truth is my opinion. That's my.
What I would also say is don't let people exploit your contrarianism, right? So just because you're a contrarian to what the government says, don't let other actors dupe you and take advantage of the fact that you have a tendency, because I don't want to be duped by the government, but I want to be duped by some of these morons on X and YouTube and everywhere else. And I'll throw myself in that category. But, I try to make sure that we're paying attention and what's going on, and we stick to the facts and we stick to what we know and we stick with logic. And you're going to have a hard time convincing me there's drones flying around that no one doesn't see, and that there's a sniper up in a room with windows that don't open with muzzle flash that's not going to exist. You can't say that. Just like I showed you guys last night, I showed you what a suppressed rifle looks like. If you didn't watch it, go watch it. I showed you what a suppressed rifle sounds like. You can't say there's a suppressed rifle shooting subsonic ammo and it's producing muzzle flash. That doesn't work, especially during the day, right? And then on top of that, that supposed muzzle flash comes from a window that doesn't open.
Yeah, and behind it is an open area.
Yep.
Those kind of things. That was really well said. Want me to take this?
Yeah.
Thank you for your service to your nation. It was my honor. What does your experience say about the direction of the shot, especially when we see slight upward movement from CK and his shirt movement and his shirt moment he gets hit? Shouldn't he be pressed downwards? No, he gets it. It aligns. The official story in this aspect aligns with what we see, which is he gets hit by a high caliber, high power round from the front, and he goes backwards immediately. Head goes down from kind of buckling from that kind of neck of collarbone area hit is what I see. And then after he dissipates, he settles in his chair upright and then falls over to his left. So that's what we see, and it lines up with the story in the official story in that way. So I hope that answers your question. I as far as my experience, that's the lens I'm analyzing this through. Me and Gary is through our experience, and I hope that's why this is valuable.
All right.
So
I know nobody is going to be able to see this, but I'm going to show it to you anyways. All right. So what you're saying, part of the problem with what we're seeing is the fact that everybody thinks that he's at some extreme angle. He's not. He's at 10 degrees. So I think we can agree that at 10 degrees, most of the force is going to be rearward in line with the bullet. Yeah, there's going to be some slight amount of force that is moving downward, but the overwhelming amount of energy delivery is going to be to the rear. So if you take 10 degrees versus 90, we're much closer to a straight on hit than we are this downward angle. It's about 9 degrees. Some people are saying 7. Fine. Somewhere between 7 and 10 degrees. That's what it is. It is not some extreme angle that's going to deliver a bunch of force downward. It's just not. Matter of fact, if you shot something at 10 degrees versus 0 degrees, like, you're probably not going to be able to notice the difference. Marcus, if his necklace was titanium, we know the bullet hit it. Would that change the trajectory?
Be careful, Cindy, with we know or proof 100%. I think in these times, in these circumstances, for all of us, if I could propose one message or be a proponent of one message, it would be stay away from extremes. We don't know anything for 100%. Well, very few things. We know.
Just to be fair,
we got to be careful with that.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but to be fair, I think it's sort of a hypothetical. It is predicated by if his necklace was titanium, and we know. I think that's if we knew for a fact that it was hit. I think.
Okay.
So I'm just trying to give her the benefit of the doubt.
Thank you. No, you could absolutely be right. And in that case, I could understand that. Would that change the trajectory? I see. Anything that's obstructs the bullet's path at any point in the bullet's path changes technically the trajectory of the bullet. The thing is, he's at the target. It's on his skin. So technically, yes, but would it be substantial enough to explain with what we see? And no, it doesn't. It doesn't explain that to me, in my opinion. What do you think, Gary?
Nope, I agree. Got nothing to add. It's plausible the neck is bunched up near the same area that bleeds across could be what punctures the neck. It explains the hole versus 30-06. I disagree. I disagree. Couldn't disagree more. What we see is a ballistic event. And whether that was directly into the neck, which I tend to not think so, given how strange it looks, or we have a redirection, which would explain that. Either way, what we see clearly, because what we're saying is, because what you can't get away from is the fact that we have this huge ballistic event internally, right? Like something happens internally here, and then I don't think that, like, if we hit a necklace or even hit his body armor, that the necklace would have enough energy to, like, fly up and hit him and stab him through his jugular vein. I just don't think that's possible.
Me neither. If Israel can do 2,000 plus exploding pagers worldwide simultaneously, then perhaps an exploding lapel mic is not outside the realm of possibility.
It's not outside the realm of possibility.
Correlation does not equal causation. Just because Israel can do something doesn't mean they did do something. For me, if you want to convince me of anything, you have to show me at least one data point on the physical evidence, which is the video from multiple angles showing the same event, something that lines up to point towards what you're saying. If you show me that, I will entertain anything. But the fact is, from every angle, if you look at that mic, it shows the same thing, which is it hangs on to his shirt, and anything that explodes, it would be gone. It would be out. It would be moving faster than anything else in the frame. It'd be out of there.
Is there anybody that has any footage of these pagers exploding? I mean, that's rhetorical because I'm pretty sure there's not. If there is, I would love to see that, because what I can tell you is that you would be like, "Oh shit, that something just exploded." Like the compare and contrast of what happened with Charlie and being able to see what it looks like when a pager explodes and kills somebody. I guarantee you, there was nobody that was like, "Oh, he was shot with a gun." I guarantee it. I guarantee you they're like, a bomb just went off, because that's what it's going to look like. So I think that's part of the problem here. High-powered gas airsoft guns shooting steel ball.
Just I mean, show me something that would suggest that on the evidence.
Where was this airsoft gun at? Because those airsoft guns, it's not airsoft guns, it's an air gun. Look, there are air guns that can take down large animals, right, including people. The problem, matter of fact, you know what? I'm gonna while we're doing that, I'm gonna look for what a large air gun looks like. I'm gonna show it to everybody, and while I'm doing that, you answer this question.
Sure. I have several boxes of unopened 30-06 in 2 clips dated December, February 1966. Wow. I'll give one to you for free to test.
Would
Let
love
me
it.
know. That would be awesome.
Yep.
I mean, that's priceless. If I'm seriously generous of you, Frederick, and that would be so cool to test. Me personally, I'd be super curious to see how it performs ballistically, what kind of accuracy you can get, what kind of MOA it holds,
I would love that.
and how it holds up against today's armor standards, ballistic gel. Would be really interesting. So, thank you, Frederick, for offering that.
Yep. All right,
Gary would
so
be the guy.
all you got, we're gonna get you down here. We're gonna go to the range together. I think it'll be fun. All right, so folks, this is like a rifle. This is an air rifle. All right, this is a 30 cal one. I don't know what the muzzle velocity is, but this is what you're kind of looking like at if you're gonna have enough muzzle velocity to actually be able to do the damage that we're talking about. And here's another one. 30 cal air rifle. Like, why would I choose that over anything else? And by the way, these things aren't quiet either. They're actually pretty loud. They're up there when it comes to the decibel rating of some suppressed subsonic round. So, which is still pretty loud, folks. So anyways, like, why would I choose that over anything else? No, I don't think, and I don't think that we see that either. That's not something that we're actually seeing. I don't think the evidence supports that either. Oh God. Marcus must have went to the bathroom. Let's see here. Boom. Could Armor Company have an NDA because it didn't stop the round and he died wearing it? Yeah, absolutely. Could either be, I've talked about this, number one, some of these things, especially if they're custom ordered and they're probably going to come with an NDA. Number two, they just may have a relationship with the company and they don't want to, like, if it gets out that Charlie Kirk, even though I don't think that the body armor would have saved him, and it definitely never once do I want anyone to think that I think it caused his death. I don't think he would have, I think he would have died either way. So if I had a relationship with an armor company, let's say I was assassinated wearing that armor and I was good friends with the company, had either a business relationship or personal relationship with them, forget about an NDA. And my wife knew what happened. I would hope my wife would just like kind of keep that under wraps that I was wearing armor. At least that's very plausible, right? So, because the moment that an armor company, it's been made well known that he was wearing that armor and then he still died, like that company might as well just close shop. So yeah, I think it's very, very plausible.
Makes sense.
Oops. Oh yeah, no, this is it.
Do you think he could have survived if the bullet didn't ricochet to his neck? Also, can you explain the possible NDA? No, that's what he was saying. Why not allowed to say he had body armor if they do not name the manufacturer? That's a good point.
It is. I think the manufacturer would be found out. Now, we may find this out in discovery, right? So depending on what is released from the trial, I would think that has to be disclosed, and we may find out from the trial.
It probably would supersede the NDA.
Oh yeah, 100%.
FBI's investigation,
or even personal, ties to wanting to keep things quiet.
Yeah.
Vest makes more sense than armor, in my opinion. I don't distinguish both. Like, even a bulletproof vest is body armor.
It's all
so
contained under the same category.
It's synonymous. I mean, we can get, if you want to get, even technically speaking, I could say we can get technical, like soft body armor is body armor. Andrew would have blamed Bones Dens if CK had armor. Blamed Bone Dens.
Density.
All right. So you're talking about Andrew Colvelt. I don't think that he would have blamed anybody just because he had body armor on. Take this one.
First part with balloon on top of shirt. Maybe broken necklace being thrown around neck. I see. Isn't next frame first time we see chain outside the shirt?
It's somewhere around
If we
there.
talk about the moment of impact, perhaps we see the necklace outside the shirt in many pictures and stuff. So just if that's what you're saying, it could be the necklace is moving really fast, and in between the frames we have, there's a lot going on too. We like the camera only takes a picture every 30th of a second, and the fact is, in that time, with how fast everything happens, there's a lot going on in between that time. So, and we don't have that information, so it could be.
The more time you spend. Oh, go ahead.
The more time you spend online, the more you realize that algorithms are designed to get a negative response from the user. Cheers. It's designed to, I think, one, evaluate
Provoke.
for value or provoke emotion. Value or emotion. And ideally, all three. It should be entertaining, enlightening, and inspiring is something that an old coach taught me is if you truly want to make something of value, try to do all three. So we're trying to do here for you. Entertain, enlighten, and inspire. Hopefully we capture one of those. But to say the algorithm does exactly one thing, I think is a mistake. It's complicated. Mm-hmm. Doing my best to be as to capture as much of the full spectrum of what we got going on here as we can, which is
that's
enlighten
true. I
and
think,
also entertain.
I think the algorithm is much more sophisticated than people realize. In whatever algorithm, all the YouTube, all the social media algorithms. The other thing I'll tell you, folks, if I wanted 10 times more views on any of my videos, I would go with some of these theories and I would push them hard if that was my goal, because those are the ones that are going to get the most views. Those are, that's going to win the views every single time. People are going to watch them because they find it entertaining, interesting. People are going to watch them because they're outraged. They're like, this is so stupid. I got to watch it. Like, this is crazy. How can anybody believe this? That's what sells. And there's a lot of people that realize that and are capitalizing on that.
That's well
Never
said.
known authorities to release evidence pre-trial for contamination of jury. If nothing else, something's off. Never known authorities to release evidence pre-trial for contamination of jury. Well, that's not true at all. Like, there's lots of evidence that comes out in every single lease case. I remember in Butler, one of the very first cases I spent as much time on, all kinds of information came out. There was being, going back to Las Vegas, there was all kinds of videos coming from and other things that are evidence related and would be used as evidence that were coming out during Las Vegas. So, I mean, again, I think this is a misconception. Maybe it's the first time that you're paying attention, but that's just, that's just false. I mean, and I don't know what to tell you. Go ahead.
I am AI Omar, not
That's right.
Al.
I forgot you, AI. I remember you, Omar. That's right. You are AI.
Check that. Okay.
I remember AI. Candace Owens just dropped a short about Tyler last 20 minutes. Marcus, you want to see if you can find that real quick? Maybe we'll throw it up here and play it.
Okay. You got it.
I don't know if you can possibly play it first. If there's a bunch of music in the background, we'll get demonetized for playing a bunch of music.
Okay.
Occam's razor is a rule of thumb for cause and effect physics. When evil human intelligence is involved, do not use it. True. You wasted 2 days on body armor. Now you're tripping on a chain. Let Marcus take the lead. Thanks, buddy.
Come on, guys. This would not be possible without Gary. He's and one and two. We need count. There is nothing is a definitive until there's something definitive. We need to argue all angles and have faith that the truth will eventually, rise to the top.
And for the record, I've wasted probably 14 days at this point on body armor. So it's not just 2. You got your facts all messed up. if it's indeed wasted.
Watch it end up being true somehow. That'd be crazy.
What are the chances of civil unrest from this? We haven't seen it yet. I think we've kind of peaked the emotional. You know, we've gone past the emotional peak of all this. So, I don't see it. I do see this may be a catalyst for a growing tensions later on down the road, but I think that tension can be traced back at least several years, and this is just one more thing to add to that pile.
I mean, to give credit and risk saying something controversial is, I think if this exact scenario was played out, but the roles were reversed as far as this was an attack on the left.
Ilhan Omar, some darling of the left. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, I think there would be pitchforks and safe. What were they? They were
riots.
Burning down shops.
They're called riots.
Riots.
Peaceful.
Yeah.
Mostly
Walgreens
peaceful
were being
protests.
raided.
You're describing mostly peaceful protests.
Hell no. And so the fact is, to me, I am proud to be on the side that I'm on, right leaning, I will say, because look at the response. Is forgiveness, stability. I mean, there's no one dying. There's no Walgreens being raided for less than $800 worth of value and whatever kind of bullcrap laws that were being taken advantage of during the raids and riots that were happening last time with George Floyd. So I just want to, take a second to say that it could be way worse. It could be way worse.
Could be way worse. Why does well? So this just struck me. To point to that, there was just recently a riot at a university, and it was because there was a couple of guys trying to do the same thing that Charlie did. They set up a table. I forgot what provocative question they put out there, but next thing you know, they're being assaulted, being chased, and there ends up being some sort of, I don't know if it's fair to call it a riot, but there was definitely some unrest that was taking place, and that didn't happen because of the right. Why does the front of his shirt blow out after the backside? When watching in slow motion, you can see the front protrude quite a bit after the back. I agree. We're trying to. That's what we're trying to find out. Trying to understand that whole portion.
Yes, I saw a video. There's no security doors to the top, unlike some. To the top of the roof. You think that's what he said?
On the university.
Yeah.
UVU.
I saw a clip from someone from Charlie's team talking about the security and how they basically outsourced roof security to the UVU security rather than their own internal security, and they were kind of forced to do that, I guess, by manpower, or just technically the university wanted to delegate things that way. And I don't, may not directly answer your question, but just want to throw that out there that there's lots of security flaws and holes in the security that I hope security in general take notes from this and adapt to how they handle events like this in the future.
Yep. Britta, thank you very much. Daniel Stein, JFK, it was a magic bullet. Charlie Kirk, it was a magic neck. How dumb do they think we are? Yeah, there's definitely some weird things. And once we can rule out the plausibility of the narrative, then we can jump to some other potential conclusions, I guess.
His security team signaled a 5-minute countdown. I need to see some proof of that. To the explosion from that thing always is in his mouth or his mic.
Marcus, I'm sorry. The only proof you need is that Stu Peters, who I have no effing clue who is. Stu Peters on Rumble said it. That's it. That's all the proof you need, bro. Moving on.
That's not going to do it.
That's all it takes.
Stu Peters.
Stu Peters said it, bro. You're taking the Snake Eyes movie, similar details, and his security guards handing stuff off to one another, putting in his pockets and running off. I think that there's lots of parallels to certain movies, and I mean, almost every scenario that you could ever imagine has happened in a movie that you could find parallels with. I don't really have a take on it, to be honest with you, bud.
It's bizarre, but you make a good point. Chris Martinson has interest ingredients theory for the shirt.
I think it has an
billowing.
interesting theory. Has an interesting theory.
Wow, you are good. He posts the round caused a high pressure cavitation inside CK's neck, causing it to rapidly expand, hence necklace breaks.
So that's exactly what we believe took place, and we've been working on that theory, but trying to put it out in a way that was, we've been trying to come up with some animation and some other things to kind of explain it. I do believe that's actually what happened.
Yeah, we've been saying that for the last over a week.
Chris stole my, I know Chris. I've talked to him. I've been on the show. Good guy. But Chris stole my idea. I'm not saying that. I'm just joking, Chris. Would a round that size bounce off his necklace? Nope. And folks, some of these, if we've already covered it, we're going to move on just for the sake of time because we got to close this thing down pretty shortly. Go ahead.
Man, these acronyms.
I've tried from day one to make Charlie Kirk's neck stop at 110 to 220 grain, 30 cal bullet at 140 yards. Can't make it work. Angle vertebrae maybe, but it's a stretch. I've shot hunted hand loader for 63 years. Must be soft armor. That's tends to be my explanation too.
Tinfoil hat theory. The entirely military command is meeting with Secretary of War Tuesday, not told why. What if found out Israel killed Charlie and command told Israel is no longer our ally? Yeah, that's, I mean, you said it in the header. I want to talk about and propose, be a proponent or a voice of things that we have evidence for, or at least a data point that points us towards that. And I want to use videos. I want to use things that we can all see. And so for something like that, I'm not going to speculate on that.
I'll tell you what I've heard, folks. Again, we're right here in West Virginia. I used to work in the D.C. area. I got lots of friends at different government positions and things like that. I know, I'm a Fed. But what I've heard is that the reason for that meeting is basically he's laying down the law that if you're not going to follow the commander-in-chief and ultimately in the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, and you're going to undermine him, then you need to retire. You need to get out. And not only that, it's not an option. So that's what I've heard is the point of that meeting. We'll see, because he feels like there is staff officers that are out there that are basically on the low, undermining his position and basically, talking shit. And that's something that would, like going back a few years ago in the military, that wouldn't be tolerated.
Nice insight.
But I also could be wrong. See, this thing scrolled on me, folks. Sometimes it does that. Remember the damage of the Israeli pager bombs, bloody gore, faces blown away. I never saw pictures of that. If we have some pictures or video of that, I would like to see that. But that's exactly what I expect to see on something described as a pager bomb.
Vid from Candace Shooter wearing tactical isn't, thank you. I tried to find the video from Candace, it's not on her YouTube channel. So what other channels could I be looking at to see this? Let me know.
We'll find it later. Don't laugh at me in the chat, but have you seen ballistic gel tests with big bore air guns? Very interesting. All right, we covered the big bore air guns. They require big, huge air tanks, and they are larger and heavier than even some of the standard firearms. So I just don't see them as plausible.
I was mainly talking about the fact that his shirt was so-called be soaked in blood, therefore it would be dripping. Actually, I can't show the pictures on here, but somebody sent me some pictures of blood on his shirt, and it does soak in later. If you look at some of the videos of him being carried away, and you freeze frame it and you zoom in, his shirt is covered with blood. So just initially it bounced off, but then it soaked in later. Like maybe that's what you're saying.
What do you guys think of the guy in the black suit, black hand gloves? I've seen it in the video. I sent it to Marcus on Instagram. Yeah, so I've actually talked to that guy on the phone. That's been debunked. That guy, number one, he's missing an arm. Let me find. I got a picture of him on my, and this is why you guys need to follow me on X, y'all. Y'all will be getting these updates, get all this interesting information. While I'm looking for that, I'll throw up another question for you to answer.
The smudge seems to be on the collar. What plate carrier is worn so high without being visible? Many plate carriers you
Yeah.
cover that area. I mean, especially if it rides up. So, I mean, just pick one. I mean, most of them do. So the smudge seems to be on the collar, and that's the thing is, I still don't have like I'm not convicted in an answer of what that black smudge is. So I'm kind of leaning towards what Gary is saying, but I do want to develop my own thought that I have high conviction in. I just don't have that yet. So I'll keep you posted.
Here's the guy, folks. So I don't have that picture up there. Maybe it shows it in this video somewhere, but this is the guy. Let me go back here. So this is the guy. I've talked to him on the phone. He's missing an arm. He had an accident, and this is him. I was trying to see. There's a bunch of pictures coming out with him out there, and of course, it immediately became a conspiracy. Sorry. I thought I had already added this, but this is the guy. I was talking about something you guys couldn't see.
Wow.
So I have that on my Twitter.
Quickly.
And you guys can go check that out. I posted that on. I posted on September 19th. Yeah. So there's the guy.
Good for you. Good information you're putting out. Could you provide a best summary for your current thinking of everything in a timeline fashion and best evidence for it? I mean, that's a great question. I think that's fair. I would want the same thing. It sounds like you're asking for a full-on video timeline with evidence, and so that's going to be a lot of work. At this current moment, if you want my general synopsis, is my goal is to prove the official theory right with facts, and then at every step of the way. And the thing I'm hung up on the most right now is the same thing most of us are, which is that the direct shot, the 30-06 shattering 13 vertebrae down the spine, is just so bizarre that it doesn't satisfy me, and I'm not happy with it. And it's basically, so that's where I'm at. And Gary's doing a lot of work to do tests, which I'm thankful for, and I'm going to help him out the best I can. For me, I'm looking out for new evidence, new pictures, listening to you guys to hopefully spark a new direction of thought, or to send me down a new path to find something that makes sense, because right now that's the biggest hole. If we can't solve that hole, then I'm forced to now start looking at second theories. I'm not going to look at second shooter as much. I'm not going to look at exploding lapel mics, but there are other things that I'd be open to, I'm sure. But at the moment, there's no evidence that I'm seeing that points me that direction. So I'm sticking with trying to pull apart the official narrative. That's where I'm at.
Lone Wolf, I agree with at least the interpretation of what you see. I see the same thing. We'll leave it at that.
I'm saying hitting soft body armor around, hits the armor high, escapes out the top of it into the ballistics dummy.
Oh, yeah. So you're talking about the, I know what video you're talking about. I got you. Yeah. Yeah, I saw that video. It at least proves what I said was plausible, and we're going to do a lot more testing. You're going to see rounds hitting the top of armor and soft plates, and soft armor, modern soft armor. And then you're going to see shots directly to the neck with multiple different rounds, with different ballistic gels, with different, I got it planned, and it's growing bigger every single day. So apparently the microphone was not. We already covered that. Armored T-shirt was possible. His stealth armor. Check them out. UA armored. There you go. Go check that out. Avoid the all caps, Kevin, please. It's my pet peeve. I'm sorry, guys. It drives me nuts. Go ahead, send that.
CM, what's CM? Do you know? Reverse engineer. Oh, someone else. Reverse engineer's angle necessary for no exit wound concludes it was impossible for TR to have made the kill shot. Impossible. Who's CM? Watch the damn UVU review video.
He's probably talking about Chris Martinson. I've forward engineered that, and I've showed it in some of my videos. I show you the shot, the angle, the clear line of sight. There's nothing that proves anything that shot angle wasn't viable. So I don't know. Just stop. Josh Winter. Really appreciate your channel. Candace Owens saying tonight Tyler is innocent. Also says his father never returned and he was never at UVU. What the hell? Yeah, so this is a real problem. And this is a problem that I do personally take severe umbrage with when it comes to some of these other theories, is letting this scumbag off the hook. If he's guilty, all right? He's going to go to his day in court. They're going to present the evidence. Or even like, is there a worse tragedy if he's actually guilty and then there's so much doubt that, you know, even from a societal standpoint, like forget about whether he's actually found guilty or not guilty, gets the death penalty or not. Like, isn't that a freaking tragedy if this guy is guilty and there's enough doubt created by BS, which is mostly what we're seeing, that in people's mind, this monster who took a father away from his kids, his little kids, like his youngest son is never going to know him. Is never going to know him. His daughter is going to barely remember him. And they also took, you know, a prominent, I don't know, just inspirational figure away from America's youth. Like, I don't care what you think about Charlie Kirk. You know, like, I have a problem with that whole idea, and that's why it's important to get to the bottom of this as well.
The only evidence of the 30-06 is the FBI Patsy story. Cropped roof video, a photo of a rifle in a box, fake text. If you let go the fake story, it's more likely there was another shooter and weapon or exploding DJI mic. Follow your eyes and reason. Well, are you saying there's not someone named Tyler sitting in a jail cell right now? Do you think the kid on...
basically what he wants us to do is like forget everything, like not pay attention to any of the known facts, or at least the narrative, right? Like all of it can't be false. I guess like if we...
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to find... I'm clinging on to what we know. We know that there is a kid that's named Tyler who looks like the outline and the silhouette and the facial depiction of what we see in the stairwell screenshots, videos. He also, on the streets walking videos of him walking by houses, same build, same looking guy, same outfit. And was just on screen in court in front of a judge, basically being sentenced to life imprisonment, facing that. And he sits there with a blank stare on his face, looking guilty as hell. All these things, you know, if that's true, then who is that person? What did he shoot? He shot something. There was a shot. We heard it on multiple videos, and somebody is dead. So these are things we know, and point me into the direction of something that pieces together a story and links those things that makes more sense than what the FBI is telling us happened, and I'm happy to look at it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like if it was that he shot him with a 243, I don't even know that a lot of the stuff would exist, because that's the main thing that like everybody's light bulbs and BS alarms go off with, right? Is the ballistics. I can't let go of my initial thought on the day I first saw the video. I've taken so many shots in deer with 243. Speaking of 243, I didn't even see that. The entry is nearly invisible. The exit almost always looks like Charlie. Okay.
Apparently, Candace mentioned that Tyler Robinson has not set foot on the university. Okay, could somebody send me a link so I could start watching this? Candace Owens, what she's talking about right now? It's not on YouTube.
What about the armed queers with Q level clearance? How would you know they had Q level clearance? And I don't know. Thank you very much. Good day, guys. Now my theory is an exploding bullet. Why not? Why not?
You're not helping, Jose. It is odd that they never mention gunshot residue in any of their reports. Well, gunshot residue. Thank you for the truth. Thank you for the truth-seeking you do. Well,
All right, so
course.
gunshot residue. Let me take this real quick because gunshot
Sure.
residue only works if you capture the guy right after time. So obviously, when we shoot a round off, even though
It's
the
on
chamber
them.
is yes. So even though the chamber is closed, or if you're shooting a handgun, especially with a handgun, because we have a reciprocating slide, right? It's going to produce a lot of gunshot residue. Bolt guns don't produce nearly as much. It only works. You can only use gunshot residue to tie someone to the crime if they're caught almost immediately after, right? Here we have at least 12, 15 hours, something like that, at least, before he's actually captured. So he went and washed his hands. I'm sure he took a shower. All those things would get rid of gunshot residue.
That makes sense. I have a link to a video that Frank says this is the first college visit he's ever gone to with Charlie. Not saying Frank had anything to do with it, just saying it's sus. Do you know which Frank he's talking about?
Yeah, he's from Frank Turek.
Okay.
I think it's okay. I mean, I don't know. It's could or not be a coincidence. I don't know. Tyler wasn't on campus or the roof. Oswald wasn't on the 6th floor. Saddam didn't cause 9/11. Killing Kirk in broad daylight and giving an absurd cover story shows they will eliminate opposition, and there's zero we can do about it. Okay.
We're doing something about it. I'm doing something about it. I don't know about you. I'm going to do something. Gary's going to do something.
Yeah. 03 Civ Division has now been activated. Do not forget. Okay. I'm not sure what 03 Civil Division is.
He's talking about Civ Div. I don't know. That was something like it. Basically, getting out of the military now. You're civilian now, and he's talking about 03 is a infantry military designation. So he's basically saying, take up arms as a civilian and fight back.
Thank you both for keeping the questions ongoing. 10th Mountain 3rd Brigade, have you given any thought to the shirt actually being the body armor as they make custom shirts that stop handgun rounds? Yeah, but they don't look like that. Now, I do think that they could have something similar to what you're talking about underneath the shirt that he's wearing. As a matter of fact, that's what I think took place. Get it?
Tight fit armor could explain lack of seen blood. Tight fit armor could explain the movements and the jolt in his body and the absorption of enough kinetic energy from the round that it doesn't go through him, but it doesn't explain the lack of seeing blood. I don't understand how that.
Well,
correlates.
I think that's what he's saying. Maybe even directly or indirectly. I think we'd agree that if he was wearing some type of armor in the back, it would prevent a pass through, which would also prevent an exit wound, which would also prevent seeing blood. I think that's the link that he's making.
Nice. That makes sense.
See, I'm fluent in chat.
You are. I'm taking notes. You guys make a great team. I wait like a schoolgirl for the show. No. Cheers, man. I'm glad we're doing something. We got some chemistry here. We just gotta, turn up the dial on the production value the best we can.
By the way, just want to thank you both for what you do. I support you all 100%. You're just trying to get to the bottom of things like you. God bless. Thank you very much.
We are. Thank you. If the animal boyfriend didn't know what he was doing, why did he text her? Remember when I was engraving the bullets? Interesting way of phrasing that in grammar, Christopher, but I'm trying to understand the point of what you're
criticizing his grammar, you a-hole?
Of course. Even Charlie Kirkham said grammar is important. Grammar is important.
We talked about this. We agree to that. I think the furry was in full knowledge of what was taking place. By the way, just wanted to thank you both for what you do. Again, this thing scrolls on me, and just message you on Facebook with a video link. If it's me that you message on Facebook, send it to
Let me
DL
check my
Podcast
Facebook.
at ParamountTactical.com. I don't check Facebook messages. What I'm curious about is, do you think he was aiming for the headshot, hit low and aiming center, and chest hit high, maybe bad zeroing? Man, it could be all of those things. It could just be bad. It's probably bad fundamentals. I mean, I think that's the most likely scenario. I do think, unless he's just a complete psychopath, but it could be a mix of those things, right? I don't think I can speculate like you. I don't know. I don't know. And if he's going, I do think if you were asking me if I had to bet money on it, being someone that's not trained and trying to kill someone and only being 140 yards, like looking at a head at 140, I would take a headshot at 140 yards, no problem. My money would be that he was aiming for the head.
I have the counter position. I think he was aiming for the chest.
There you go. And now we have a fair and balanced discussion.
Yeah.
5 seconds more on the roof footage would show him taking the shot. Why won't they release that? It sounds to me, based on what we read on the charging documents, that they do have the footage of him taking the shot.
Yeah. The only thing I can speculate is them wanting to be sensitive to the family and not wanting to promote more image of people hearing that shot go off again and again and again, and maybe just trying to reduce the psychological collateral damage this case will have on everybody. That's just a guess. What are the chances of less powder in the bullet and a cold bore shot would be need to know the physics of that? Would we need to know the physics of that?
Would he need to know the physics of that?
Good. Man, you're so good. Would he need to know? The thing is, cold bore at 140 yards is irrelevant, guys.
It's negligible.
It's so negligible. Like, people are saying first shot cold bore must be a pro at 140 yards. They don't know what they're talking about. We're talking, that's like the difference of half a MOA. I mean, it's so negligible.
I could cold bore shot 10 out of 10 times with an AR standing offhand. It's not hard. Usually, I have a rifle over there. It has the largest cold bore shift, and it's about 1 MOA high and 1 MOA right. Most of my other rifles is pretty negligible. Now, it's not a Mauser. It's not apparently a pre-World War I freaking gun, but still.
For context, guys,
if it was 400 yards with that old gun, like cold bore would be more of a factor. Yeah,
I mean, it's like if he was aiming at this at 140 yards, the cold bore shot may put him here. It's like just as a visual, guys. It's
great
nothing.
point. And let's go crazy. Let's say it goes that far. That'd be about 3 or 4 MOA. It doesn't change the outcome of if he was aiming center and was able to break a clean shot.
Number 1, white cap started sequence. 2, black shirt, checked line, signed, execute. 3, third story shot goes off. 4, white shirt shoots. Oh, he's pointing at someone probably in the crowd who he's
think
suspecting.
I think Easy Tino just incriminated himself. He put out the plan as it was.
How do you know that? Yeah, Brown.
He wrote the order.
Brown shirt. He's playing like a meta game. He's like, if I admit to it, then they'll never suspect me.
Charlie Kirk used a handheld microphone as well. He did. That is factual. Marcus, it might be worth explaining to the audience what a breacher is. I'm not sure everybody understands your experience. There you
go. Professional get behind doors that people want locked and don't want you to go through, basically. Walls, doors, windows. It's a training course you go through in the military to, what's the word? It's denied entry, or if non-permissive entry, if you want to get into a house and the enemy's locked it and barricaded it, they don't want you in. You get taught all the skills you need to get in any means necessary. I don't care if it's going through a wall, door, any kind of metal, the hull of a ship, windows, second stories, coming in from the top, bottom. I mean, underground. I didn't mean bottom by underground. Just meaning you find a way in. So that's breacher's expertise, is getting their team inside the building by any means necessary.
Folks, there's 3 types of breaching. There's mechanical breaching, ballistic breaching, and explosive breaching. So ballistic breaching, you use a shotgun usually to blow deadbolts. Mechanical breaching, you're breaking windows using some sort of leverage, usually like a huli tool to get through, or an axe, or a ram. and then explosive breaching, which I've done a lot. I guarantee he's done a lot. Then you're using explosives to get through a wall, a door, whatever it is, a gate, you name it. It may be nothing but the side shot you were watching under a blue hat with the white letters behind it, and the left of Kirk reacts much earlier than anyone else. I wonder if he was hit with something. Oh, that reminds me. This reminds me of something I saw earlier. I saw somebody talking about, basically they were trying to say that no one is looking behind Charlie when he's showing the side shot, that no one in the front row reacts to the shot. Well, no, they're looking at Charlie. They see that he was hit, and when you're there, you're gonna see the impact of that bullet before you actually even hear the sound. I think that's, and it's at 140 yards. It's less than a second. It's going to be milliseconds, but you still clearly see an impact. Your attention's going to be drawn to that. But if you zoom out, as we have on this podcast before, you start looking at the larger audience and people upstairs. They clearly look over to the direction of where the shooter comes from. So take that for what it's worth. Maybe nothing but the side shot you were with the letters behind him reacts much earlier than anyone else. I wonder if he was hit with something, or some people just have faster reaction times.
Google the exploding pagers. There are videos. Okay, I'll do it. Google or exploding. I'm doing it.
Sounds good. Let us know if it's something we can show. Hopefully there's some bleeped out ones. I'll run through some questions while you're looking that up. Charlie was embalmed. Charlie was embalmed quick, enough time for an autopsy? Absolutely. I mean, it's only going to take a few hours for an autopsy. It could be done in the middle of the night. I don't know when exactly he was embalmed. I'll be honest with you. I still suspect that an autopsy isn't performed. I think that's a potential, and if that is, that's a real tragedy. I think what the information Marcus was relaying earlier is maybe they retrieved the bullet, so they're going to get forensics. They have other forensic analysis, all these things. We may never get they may have not done an actual autopsy because they feel like they have enough evidence that is needed to point, and I think that's going to cause a problem. Yeah. The data points for other shooters: exploding mic, wound too big for entry, no exit wound in line, shirt collar exploding up, FBI taking over local PD, no autopsy, no proof of bullet, no x-ray, CIA school, paving over scene. I mean, I just think that there's data points, but that's not evidence. I don't accept the exploding mic. Shirt collar exploding up. I think that can be explained by some physics and ballistics. FBI taking over local PD. That's not abnormal. I don't know they took over the local PD. They're going to take over the case. It's a federal charge. Yeah. I don't know what to say about some of those other things. If you zoom in above the letter E on the table in front of you of CK, you can see the blowbacks of Puff's banner out. I think shot came from between Charlie's legs under table. No midget was down in the hiding hole, and I guarantee you that was covered. There's no evidence of that. My previous comment was in the response to Mark's comment about the ice shooting. Also, Candace needs to start dropping receipts regarding her sources on Tyler. She now claims he is being framed. That's my problem with Candace Owens. She's been saying a lot without providing any evidence whatsoever, and that's a real problem.
She'll say, like, I found a source of a friend of a friend who said this and that, and that's still not quite good enough for me.
No, it's sensationalism at its best, and if we wanted to go with that in this show, we'd get 100 times the views. Many details may be kept hidden simply because they're still investigating accomplices, which may have knowledge of things not yet released to the public. Agreed. Thank you both for your service. Also, there are people in this chat I hope I never meet in person. I'm sure I haven't looked at. We have 8,500 comments. So I'm sure.
I'm coming back. The only videos I can see are just these really obscure videos of like this guy in a wheelchair at a grocery store. His like underneath him, it just explodes. And
Do you have
and
a
I just
different
need
do you have a different browser like Brave or something?
not immediately.
That's fine. I'm not asking you to look it up. We'll
I'll check it
explore
out.
that because I think that is a good. You know what? The next time we do a podcast, we'll have some. We'll probably have to sanitize it if we can find it, but you're probably not going to find it in Google.
That's a good point. I'll check it. I'll do more research.
Remote mic detonator. Okay. Braden, Denny, thank you very much.
Thank you, Braden.
Nice clap back, not wasted time. We appreciate it. Do you think that all the footage that's been released has already been doctored? I think there's a lot of it that's been being doctored. I think my primary suspect on that is just people messing around. There may be some other bad actors involved that are trying to sow confusion, but I don't even think that's needed. I think there's enough people out there that thinks it's funny and they can do it. And the crazy thing is 5 years from now, we're not going to have that luxury. AI is going to be indistinguishable from real footage, and we are going to be lost in the sauce as to hopefully be able to figure out what is real and what isn't. And I think we're just a couple of years away from that. Here you go, Marcus.
The ballistic high-speed guys are great and have a lot of experience in filming bullets in flight and terminal results. It would be cool to see you collab with them, and you could save rental money. The high-speed cameras are awesome. As soon as I have the financial ability to produce videos with high-speed stuff, I would love to, and I'm sure Gary would too. That channel is awesome. I love what they do.
Yeah, I've been stalking their channel for the last few days because I was looking at what type of aperture speeds and frame rates they've been using, so I knew which camera to rent, and that ain't cheap. Just to rent them is not cheap. You're talking about several $1,000 per day. Could vest strip jacket off and go into the neck, making a weird hole? Then lead keeps going through vest because we see the rear vest stop it. All these videos show neck hole. Maybe.
I see what he's saying.
Yeah.
The thing, the 30-06 round. I mean, Gary, if there is a armor that thin, first thing I'll just ask Gary, do you think there's armor that is thin enough to be concealed under his t-shirt that could stop a 30-06 round?
I think it could deflect it.
But direct on impact, do you think it wouldn't go through? Is there any armor in existence that you know of that could do that?
Not.
I don't think so.
Hold on. So, no. Here's what I would say. I would say that if we're using low recoil rounds, it would stop armor. It would stop a 30-06 round immediately. Matter of fact, I looked it up. Like the muzzle energy from the energy at 100 yards, at 140 yards, from the low recoil rounds of 30-06 would be less than some of the other caliber handgun rounds at 5 yards. So, yeah, it is absolutely possible that could be the case.
Good answer.
As far as stripping off, again, it's hard to say. Guess what? We're gonna try. We're gonna try to replicate that. We'll see if we can make that happen. Send it.
Thanks to analysis by you guys, it seems like either TR did it or someone who wanted him to take the fall has seen the movie. Mark Wahlberg shooter. Seriously, thanks for your data-focused analysis. Yeah, knowing that people who have no experience at analyzing these kind of things are going to jump to conclusions, I hope, and I think Gary does too, is we hope we can be a voice of that's more based in reason and not jumping to such crazy hypotheticals. Although we are open to it, it's not where we're going to jump to immediately. Just emailed Candace statement.
Yep, hold on. I got it. Oh, good. There's no audio hold on. I got you. Thanks, man. We can do this stuff in real time sometimes. Let's check this out. And then I got to hit this again, add this to stage, take this down.
Oh, you got something.
Make this big, and we'll hear what she has to say. Let's play it.
It's on a crazy weekend cliffhanger. I needed to get that information out as soon as possible. Obviously, you can probably see that I received some information, a communication, which answered a lot of questions that the public has had about the story, or rather the non-story that we are getting from the feds. The push that Tyler Robinson is this lone shooter, which they're trying to establish as a fact. Some of the burning questions that we had, okay, well, if he turned himself in, how did he also not confess? I now have the answers to that. The main point, the reason why this information came to me, is because there's a narrative being spun right now by the media that Tyler Robinson is or was suicidal. That is not true. And that's a very scary thing when suddenly they're saying he's suicidal and, you know, he's in solitary, and he's not suicidal. So that was the reason why this information.
Like, how would she know that?
That is a lot to just fire out there, because
Like, my problem with Candace is that she's doing like a lot of other people. Like, she seems like she's getting a little bit of information and then,
full sending.
well, no, like, and then elaborating on top of that outside of the ability to know, like outside of the confines of the information that she's been given. Like, seems like there's a lot of elaboration going on there that, and on top of this, like, all we're getting is her words. Like, I don't know, maybe she has a bunch of evidence behind the scenes, but why wouldn't she produce said evidence? I have a problem with the way that she's going about this. And I really like Candace too.
I do too. I respect Candace because, I mean, she's got bravery. She has real courage. That's a fiber of her character that is respectable. She is not afraid to say something that'll make people mad. And that says something about character and kind of internal strength. And I like that. I just, it has to be combined with evidence and things like that. And the fact is, he was wearing a suicidal protective vest at his hearing.
Yeah, that's standard operating procedure for something like this.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't even matter if he said he was suicidal. Like, it's a logical leap that this guy might kill himself before he gives up evidence. So that's typically standard operating procedures. But I just want everybody to notice, I don't know if you can see this or not, what is cool is that now we are getting a suggestion of this podcast right here, right on the bottom of the screen from Candace. So that's kind of cool. Thanks, you two, for not being a freaking censoring. And of course, they may just give it to me. It may not be for everybody else. They're like, Gary's going to see this and be convinced that we're not censoring them. Not today, devil.
They're playing 4D chess.
Urgently came to me. Obviously, I know a lot more, and I'm going to share it with you guys on Monday. I just wanted to vet some of the things that I heard, ask some more questions from people that would know, and just to make sure everything I say is above board. And obviously, this lead led to more leads.
Okay, so she's going to give us more information on Monday. Can we all agree that if she doesn't provide evidence for any of this stuff on Monday, she is no longer a viable source of good information? Like, I think we should all be able to agree on that. Like, okay, you're leading us along, you're giving us a little, you got the carrot out there. You said Monday, and then if she doesn't provide some hard evidence by Monday that backs up anything she said in the last week, because some of it's been bonkers, I think, like, me personally, I'm like, I'm done with you, Candace. I can't trust anything you say. You're capitalizing on sensationalism, and you're just full of crap at that point.
And I want to give people a chance to respond. This is crazy. Nothing more that I can say. This is very serious. I don't know what's going on, but I do know that what we are being told has gone on is just not so. And this is really kind of going to.
All right. I think that's enough of that.
Knowing the power you have when you turn on that microphone, and knowing how many people you're going to affect, their opinion, and not bringing it all together in a concise, easy to understand, and evidence-backed package, to me, it's just a little bit careless of a way to conduct your investigations and your brand. So I hope on Monday there's a lot of clarity and there's some real hard evidence, like you're saying. I really do.
Yeah. Can you also pull the video to disprove he didn't have a gun on the roof tip climbing off building? There's a bunch of people that have done this already. Again, I keep going back to Gray. I think he did his best job on it, but he talks about that and analyzes that. Candace was sued for defamation. There's no way I was willing to believe her just saying. So I don't care that she was sued for defamation. I thought it was. I listened to her discussion on Bridget. Oh, geez, the president of Bridget Macron. I am 100% convinced that Bridget Macron was a dude. I do think he is a she or she is a he or whatever we got going on. And I think it's pretty funny that they tried to sue Candace for that. What I will say is when I see this stuff, it starts making me question everything else that she's put out, including some of that.
To me, it's the same as I start to look at her like the media, where I don't take anything she says immediately as fact or truth or lie. I just take it and then I go do my own analysis and then compare. That's just
All right.
what I do.
Hey, Frederick sent email asking for address to send 30 off 6. Sounds good. I will respond to that and look forward to getting it. And I appreciate the support. That's awesome.
That's super awesome. Conspiracy possible. Tyler was accommodated, distance, distraction, and a female assassin would blend in and outnotice with a small caliber weapon. We would have heard a second shot somehow.
I mean, besides like a thought experiment in our imagination running wild of what could be, like what else are we doing here? I don't know what we. Yeah, I mean, at this point, like, what about nanobots? Why can't it be nanobots? Nanobots.
No, Gary.
Like, I mean, if we're gonna go out there on a limb and just start running wild with imagination, let's do it, man. Let's get crazy.
Cannot allow ourselves to be dragged into that. Must resist the nanobot temptation.
What if we're in, a simulation and he didn't actually die, and all we saw was bits and things going across. I don't know where to begin with all that. Tyler told his roommate lover he did it. Well, allegedly, if you believe his text message, which is a lot of people don't. I do. I tend to think those are real, but I don't have any proof of that. I have no evidence other than that they exist. I will give that to anybody that wants to criticize that belief. Shilling for big rifle, I see. You better believe it. Everybody should own a rifle.
A worse tragedy than letting a guilty Tyler off, convicting an innocent man and letting the real killers off. A guilty-looking face isn't evidence. Never said it was. What evidence of Tyler's guilt do you have? I'm just, I'm doing the best I can with what I have, and when I look at them, I'm looking at everything. And certain pieces of evidence have more weight than others. And to me, if someone is truly being set up and unknowingly, and they feel like there's no justice going on or something, they're being accused of something they didn't do, there's a different expression I would expect, and I'm just speaking my thoughts. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that's evidence for anything. Is your main theory still that the bullet ricocheted up off the body armor? This is more for Gary, I think. How would that explain his back deformation?
I agree. I don't know. I think those are contradictory unless there's other things going on there. I agree with that statement. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, we still could have a freaking hydrostatic shock wave that does more than one thing. And just because of the anatomy, it's going to direct it in that direction more. And because of the, again, I agree with you. And I stated at the beginning that some of those two things are hard to reconcile. Take it.
Tyler is on a self-aliving watch prison yard, so conspiracy sanction hit is possible. Just saying. Anyways, great live discussion. Peace. Thanks, Gary. And the thing is, it's nothing new. The very day he turned himself in, or his father, whoever turned him in, he went to jail. The next day, the news and everything was talking about that he was on the unaliving watch. So this is not new. I don't understand why people are saying like now this is something that's new.
Yeah. Apparently, the FBI said that all conspiracy theories of Charlie Kirk shooting is genuine, legit. I don't really understand. Explain skin push outward with bullet. It's hard to explain.
Cavitation when the round goes in.
It's hard to explain what we're seeing. I just don't know that we've ever seen that event slowed down to that extent. So it may be normal what we see. We just don't have a lot of these instances filmed, and definitely nothing as a direct comparison. I do think that what we're seeing is a evidence of some sort of armor on the back of his back. I really do.
I sent you a vid and a screenshot with a red circle to show the area to look at when watching. You guys are appreciated. Could you specify who you sent it to? Dispatch. If you sent it to me, which channel? And for anybody watching, if you send me something, if you could say, hey, Marcus, I sent it to your Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, then just be specific, then I know where to look, because I have like 1,000 messages. I can't get through them all.
Hold on. Somebody sent me a link to pagers blowing up. All right. Oh, it's blocked out, so hopefully this won't be any. Let me see. Share this tab instead, and we'll put this up there, and this might be interesting to watch. We'll see if we see something similar or not. All right. I don't know how much. Yeah, we didn't. That's not what we saw. Look at how everything goes. Folks, that's an explosion. We have a radial explosion, right? It's 360 degrees going every direction. That's not what we saw with Charlie. I think this is a great video. We don't see a bunch of ancillary destruction with Charlie. All right, so I think that's pretty definitive there, in my opinion. So what we're seeing there is, a lot of destruction, but not as much injury. What was your take on that, Marcus?
I don't understand how people are relating. They're saying there's technology out there of things that explode that are small. It's like, of course. And how does that relate back to this? Those look so, what's the word? Like a terrorist attack is just kind of widespread on random innocent people. It's not targeted like this on a political leader or.
Well, no, I think I think these people are targeted. I think
they look like like a cashier.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's people that are. I think it probably was targeted. I think you could do that. I think you could make that assumption. Well, it could be wrong or not, but the point is like the point is like if they can do that, and this is where the logical jump goes from one point to another, is if they can do that, it could have been Charlie. The problem is like everything we just saw, we see this fairly large explosion. It's 360 degrees. It's damaging all kinds of stuff all around. It's throwing debris everywhere, just like we described before we saw pictures of this. And then like the problem with that is like as much damage takes place and as much energy is dispersed 360 degrees as it is to the thing that it's attached to. And that's what we see. There are ways to make an explosion slightly more directional, but you still see that. Like we do that with shape charges when we're breaching metal doors and things like that. We tamp them with, like, there's a lot of things that you can do, but still, most of that energy is still dispersed outside of just the target, and that's what we see with an explosion.
Yeah, there's no question to me that it's not a shape charge on Charlie or any kind of explosive lapel mic. I'm more so thinking about now intention of like why would they even do that. So, but yeah, you make a good point. You can definitely make a charge shape or directional. Most charges do have a function of targeting a certain shape or at least sending a shrapnel or some kind of medium towards one direction. But the backside is always going to be completely decimated and gone anyways. It's just like you're saying, omnidirectional.
And any clothing that is under it or anything else is also going to be, it's going to be destroyed. Like what we're seeing
That's true.
is just
The
not
shirt
an
would just
explosion.
be.
Yeah, it wouldn't just be puffed up. It would be freaking shredded.
That's true. Just another thing.
The only people that this theory works on are those that have zero experience with explosives. I'm just being honest with you folks, and I understand that's fine. Like there's stuff out there that you guys know about that me and Marcus don't. That me and Marcus would come up with some BS, be like, I think this, and you'd be like, look, dude, I'm a freaking mechanic. I'm like, if I came out here and I was like, look, you know, big oil is a scam, and you can use cooking oil. It's the same thing in your engine, and you know. And somebody be like, Gary, look, listen to me. I'm a freaking mechanic or, you know, whatever. Like, you're going to blow up your engine. I'm like, it's the same stuff, man. Look at it. Oil. Like, it's logical to jump from that to that, but it's only because you don't know what you're talking about. And like, I do that all the time. Everybody's guilty of that. Are you guys tracking the exploding mic? We just covered it. I've been in the field 45 years, all types of gear, projectile target, based on the experience, the size, supposed entry mark, lack of an exit, how the shirt collar reacts just makes sense. I agree. Payne Revere, I think it's it's not the shirt collar. What we're seeing is, again, we have rapid acceleration of that hanging chain by the neck. We're talking going from, it's probably like 10 G's of acceleration that's taking place there in a millisecond. And it's pulling back this way. It yanks that cross up and potentially breaks it. And the physics calculations we got some engineers working on says that's not only probable, it's likely.
Marcus, Candace's videos are under her live tab and shorts. That's where you'll find her investigative work on YouTube. I'll check it out right now.
It's the video that we just pulled up.
Okay.
But yeah. Tyler didn't have 20/20 vision without glasses. You don't need 20/20 vision with an optic. An optic, you can adjust the diopter, which will actually adjust your eye, that along with any sort of parallax. We don't know that he wasn't wearing contacts either. I don't know if we forgot about those. But I have clients that come shoot with us all the time, and they're having, they wear bifocals, so they're trying to look at their turrets, and they're trying to look through the optic, and like they can't do it. I'm like, hey, take your glasses off. All right. And now look through here. Let's adjust. Like, oh man, I can see perfectly. We do it all the time. And now they can see both. It's obviously depending on the optic. Sometimes the eyesight's so bad we can't adjust good enough, but the optics adjust to your eyes. Do you think gun grabbers will use these recent events to go after books, guns, given both use Mauser rifles? The last guy used 8mm Mauser, I guess. They're going to always use every excuse to go after guns. It's just, they don't know how to do anything other than that. Gun grabbers going to grab guns. That's what they do.
You two make a great team. Once the trial begins and facts start coming out, we'll have to get a gang here together again.
Sounds good.
We're on it. I think we're both very invested in this and finding the truth. I know I am, and I want to see it to the end. I don't like stopping halfway at anything.
Nate VFT said under Utah law, an autopsy is required. That may be true, but that may be if I don't know what that means. If the FBI says they're going to do an autopsy, maybe that's good enough. But again, I don't know. We'll find that out, whether or not that will come out, whether or not an autopsy was performed, and then we can go back and look at Utah law and see if that correlates.
My first thought when I came across the channel was keeping the masses busy, distraction. Just thought that came up.
We'd do a better job distracting the masses by coming up with and proposing and here's what, look, again, I've seen this pattern. You're going to see people that are pushing these theories. Eventually there's going to enough information come out that's going to prove those theories wrong. Then they're going to jump to the next new theory. And then there's going to be information that comes out that proves that wrong. It's no longer plausible. Nobody's going to believe it, and they know it. So they jump to the next one. And then they just keep going until it just dies out and something new comes up. And then they never take responsibility. And then they go back and they have a new thing to worry about. So they come up with the craziest theories about that. Just trust me. I'm telling you, that's what's going to happen.
AK quotes about what a surgeon said makes no sense to anyone who's worked in an ER, as he wouldn't have gone to surgery without being stabilized first. They were trying to stabilize him. It was simultaneous. When you're dealing with that much trauma, it's all happening at the same time. Sometimes it's not one before the other. Sometimes the injury requires surgery to be stabilized. So I'm sure they tried. I remember when it was all happening, the day of, I was watching in real time. I was listening to a Twitter space, and there was conversations and comments that he was getting a blood transfusion and that someone got a pulse back, but no one wanted to confirm nothing, and it was all happening very, very fast. So I hope that helps.
Yeah. I have Safe Life Hyperline and wear under the shirt. I believe he was wearing something similar, hit edge, deformed, caused large injury. Thanks for your service. I think something similar happened as well.
Why is it a federal charge?
Oh, go ahead.
It's not. Also, audio released today from local PD revealed no autopsy. You won't see an autopsy. The bullet, an open trial, more or better video. I'll bet 10K, 10 to 1. I mean, I would say don't be so invested in something you don't have control over. Pain, I'm saying your name right. We don't have control over what these people do. We're just, for us, we do have the ability to stay emotionally calm about this and just analyze things as from the most fair perspective we can. You have something to say, Gary?
What do you mean it's not a federal charge? Like, they can come. Are you not aware of the number of? Number one, this is definitely a federal case at this point, and they can come up with there's a billion laws that if somebody wanted to come in today from the federal government, they could find. You know, even though I'm completely innocent, I don't do anything wrong. Like, if they want to charge you federally, they can, and clearly they do want to. This guy is a mix of Paul Revere and Charles Payne, if you didn't pick up on that. He is two founders in one. Being at 4,500 feet above sea level, reduced air density should reduce drag at 140 feet, even with 75 to 100 grain. It's hard to believe. Odd 6 did decapitate him. Not if it was, no, like, you still have air density, even at 4,500 feet. When you zero it at 4,500 feet, yeah, there might be some significant reduction of air density, but it doesn't change enough.
Like, this is like stuff you consider at like a
entire classes on air density and altitude, and what you're saying is just not correct.
If you're taking 1,000-yard shot, then this is a relevant conversation.
And even then, it's not that relevant. It would change your drag model slightly. It's going to change your elevation required to get to that distance. All other things being equal, it's not going to change much.
They'd have to have an autopsy to recover bullet and forensically match it to the rifle, or they can't convict Tyler. That's my understanding, and that's what my good friend in the beginning, who has some friends that he hears, is the FBI has every intention to do that and is doing that. So maybe it's already done. They have what they need so that the family could have Charlie and they could have their ceremony and do everything. He's a high-profile guy, and so that's my understanding. What about you? Is that unrealistic?
I mean,
I don't know
it's
that
fair-
much about
I think
it.
it's fair to say that we don't know. Like, I think that's really what it comes down to. You have the information you have, and it seems to indicate that. But what I do know is that will come out. Whether or not there's an autopsy done, I think will come out. And I would be surprised and I would be disappointed to hear that there's not an autopsy. But for me, it doesn't change very much. Gary, I came here to listen after watching how you conducted yourself after Butler. So many people just out for clicks. I just want the truth. Thank you.
Autopsies are done to confirm or find cause of death. Bet he was cut open and examined for bullet trajectory and recovery. Trad autopsy not needed. That's what I think. Something like that.
There was a radio comms played on InfoWars today. No autopsy was done. Surgeon signed off on death certificate per Erica's wishes. Like, I think let's just hypothetically believe for just a moment that Erica doesn't believe that there was anything afoot here, and she just wants this over with. So I could, she feels like she knows what happened, and if I had just the information I have now, and there's a bunch of information gaps for me right now, and my loved one was shot, I'm like, based on what I have now, I'm fine with there not being an autopsy because, that's how I feel. I know a lot of us want it. I just don't know if it's true or not, and we'll find that out. But neither I nor Marcus really know. Gary, so sorry, hadn't heard your cavitation billowing theory. Jordan, super chat F's up our typing. That's okay. No hard feelings. I don't know. Female sniper. Ooh. Okay. Just somebody has a new fetish.
In my opinion, Robinson is being handed an acquittal.
I don't think that's true. I disagree with that. YouTube is blocking me from sending you a specific message here. I tried 100 times today on Wednesday. How can I send it in another way, please? Or please go back to the free chat 5 minutes ago and see my messages. Yeah. The free chat has 9,942 messages. I'm probably not going to be able to find it, George. Please send it to me. Again, banners. Let me throw up a banner. This one. Boom. Save that. Boom. All right. DL Podcast, ParamountTactical.com, or you can DM me or just tag me in your post on Twitter. Everybody go follow me and Marcus on Twitter. That'd be great. I love you more than I do. That's really hard.
Macron's story is false. Her brother lives in Amiens. How do you say that?
I don't know, some Frenchy way.
Still,
Amiens.
He was part of a lawsuit against 2 women in France. I can send evidence on DM if you want.
I don't really care. You know what? I'll be honest with you, Ellen. I actually want to continue believing that Bridget's a dude. I'm going to go with the confirmation bias on it. Like, there's not a lot. I'm not risking much if I go with the confirmation bias on that. But it could probably go either way. Neck wound, silver spot on front of shirt, both sides of shirt pulled up, chain thrown back of shirt pushed back. That's a lot of stuff going on for one shot. Crazy. A lot of things happen during kinetic events. It does.
Yeah. The physics of things are kind of a phenomenon down at that microsecond level. At this point, I believe nothing from the FBI. Careful with that, because then you're also fooled, easily manipulated. If it's nothing and everything, got to be in the middle, guys. And even if they do not give new information, that's too much time for them to alter it. A good liar will always mix in truth. So you have to be able to discern, guys. You have to be able to look at a source objectively, not emotionally, and say, okay, how does this story they're telling me line up with this, plus my own personal experience, plus the expertise of people who know something more than me, and then combine it all and then come to your own independent thought conclusion. That's my recommendation.
Yeah, I think that's, look, here's what I do believe. I believe right now the FBI has probably put out some information that's incorrect that they'll end up having to correct later. I believe that there's a potential that they could be lying to us. Who knows the motive? Excuse me, in a couple different areas. And I always default to default trust but verify. Well, actually, it's don't trust and then verify what they say is true and then find out some things. Look, there's definitely some things that I think for a fact the FBI lied about and the U.S. government lied about during Butler. There's things that I could prove that they lied about. One of them was the autopsy report. There's some things that they either just got wrong or lied about, among other things, irregardless. But, I mean, I understand everybody's sentiment on that. This is a great point, too. Normal people trying to understand a furry, loving leftist thoughts and language needs to be taken into account when considering text challenging. I agree. I know some of these people, and you got to understand that some of these people, I won't say I know some of these people. I've had some experience around some of these people, and I just sat back and watched and observed at the demise of humanity. And some of them do talk like that. They have this like, and then also understand that a lot of these people like are in this weird, in the same sphere as like the real hardcore Renaissance people too. It's all weird, and some of them do speak like this in this romanticized way of communicating that is effing weird. I don't know what else to say about it, so I agree with that.
Thank you for all you do. Your honesty, good character, legitimate knowledge, non-sensationalism make you a trusted resource that is much needed. Please keep doing what you're doing. Much appreciated. Well, that's really nice of you. Doing our best, and that's the standard, so thank you.
Have you entertained the thought of a Sabbat like the Remington Accelerate? I have, and you won't be surprised to see that we'll have those amongst the ammunition that we're testing. Gary Mark on his oh, sorry, go ahead.
Gary Mark on shirt is actually from oxidation of bullet hitting the shirt. At an angle, it will elongate on the shirt because of compression when it hit.
Same thing we see when you shoot white paper targets. That's all I know. I'm sure that's right. That makes sense. Oxidation on it, yeah. Oxidating the material it's coming into contact with, as well as oxidation from the bullet itself. Makes perfect sense to me. Never really thought about it. Maybe the wound on the neck is a laceration from the necklace. We covered that. We don't think so.
I did not pay $5 for Gary to read half my comment and skip. Look at the guy on the roof above suggested bush guy images. Well,
FFS.
Look at the guy. I mean, if you speak respectfully, I'll take a look at, and I'm sure Gary would too, at anything you like. But $5 is not enough to have us take disrespect.
Well, first of all, I put the comment up there, and I react to the comment, as does Marcus. Some of these everyone sees the entire sentence, and some of them are sitting up there while we're talking for 10 minutes. So, like, I don't know, man. Like, chill out.
Hundreds and hundreds of these, and if you send me the picture and you speak respectfully, I'll look at whatever you have. Ice shooter, 1, anti-ice, ? Wouldn't a kid say ice sucks? Number 2, if he wanted to kill ice, wouldn't he just shoot the driver? Whether he was left or right, he was a worthless misfit. You said a lot there, and I don't know what to tell you. He is a piece of crap. That guy that did the shooting in Dallas.
Oh, Jeff Johnson. Can't be a female sniper. They hit on first shot. Well, I mean, he did, Jeff, right? Or he did, she did. I don't know. Why didn't they show him actually taking the shot? They only showed him 3 seconds after. $5 Canadian at that. That's like $1.50 or something. All right, we're gonna hit some lives real quick. We're gonna scroll down here and try to hit some of these. 1980 movie Snake Eyes. I think we covered that. Charles Kirkland is assassinated September 10th while a boxer known as Tyler, the executioner, plays the role of distraction for a sniper. That'd be all right. All right. Now I'm a little more interested.
That's bizarre. Absolutely bizarre.
Snake Eyes parallel. I'm going to look into that.
That is so crazy. That's true.
Camera gun. Why not?
That's a bit crazier.
You'd like Bigfoot standing on your porch. At Simply Heidi, it's one thing to be protected branch of the betterment of our country and release information in time and betterment. No, they hide, and it's so creepy and weird. I don't disagree with that. I think that we clearly have been lied to. Information has been withheld. And then the problem that I have too is like even future administrations, like we still haven't got anything from Epstein. We still haven't got anything from going even back to like JFK or MLK, which by the way, I didn't know this. Apparently, and I'm ashamed to say this, but I didn't know that apparently MLK was actually shot with a 30-06 and that he didn't have an exit wound either. So that'd be interesting to look up and verify. Of course, there was so much shady shit going around the Martin Luther King assassination as well that I don't know how much we can get garner from that. We definitely look. I wouldn't say just because that JFK was shot with 30-06 and it didn't. Like we'll have to look at like where he was shot, and it would be a different thing, guys. I would be approaching this very differently if Charlie Kirk was shot in the chest and then it didn't exit. But to say that we had a direct hit to the neck and it doesn't exit, that's the thing that's baffling. Not just that a human was shot with 30-06. So either he was wearing body armor, or he was, and we have a deflection, which could explain some of those things, or he was shot directly in the neck and didn't have an exit. That's where things get super weird for me. This guy says police interrogated Robinson after the shooting near the area where the gun was found. Yeah, that was just coming out the other day that apparently he went back and actually talked to police. I saw that report, didn't get a chance to really deep dive on it, but that does seem to be, that's at least something that was reported. Send that.
Wiki date on Snake Eyes Asan. They changed it yesterday from 9/10 to 9/19. And lady who set up Asan, all white dress, blonde hair, 27-year-old, now this year plays part of Elizabeth Kirk.
Yeah, like, and I say this genuinely. I don't want people to take this as me being facetious. One conspiracy leads to another, and I mean that. I'm not necessarily saying this is a conspiracy, but there are, again, many times like you start looking at these things and somehow they're interconnected. And I agree that we don't always know that some of these things are interconnected. So a camera gun was actually used in assassination years ago. I don't doubt that these things exist. What I'm saying is that if we had a camera gun shoot Charlie, we would know it. It would be obvious. That's not what we see. We see a frontal entry, all those things that we've talked about. The plot centers on Santoro investigating the assassination of Secretary of Defense Charles Kirkland during a boxing match at the Atlantic City Arena between heavyweight champion Lincoln Tyler. I'm sure this person's responding to somebody else. Get this one. Oh,
George Webb has great reporting on communist left gun clubs in Utah, and Robinson has ties to it.
oh sorry, I moved it too fast. Ties. Sure.
Okay.
I do know that communist gun clubs exist. Take that one too.
Did you see the TPUSA media guy standing next to Charlie when shot? Then he walked directly over, climbed on short wall to pull out his phone to film them carrying him to the car. Very strange. I don't know that that's true. But I think there's lots of strange things. So I'll take a look at that.
Nick Fuentes made a great video outlining the ridiculous conspiracy. Best video I've seen this far. Yeah, so I don't go to Nick Fuentes for any good information. I do know that he's put out some pretty hyperbolic, nonsensical stuff I wouldn't consider. Like, to me, Nick Fuentes, even if everything he said in that video is true, like, I don't think he has any credibility because I've seen too much other stuff that he said that's just, like he's another guy out there, another person out there that is intentionally trying to provoke, and I get it. And they require that to make money, but like, whatever. I just don't. I'm confused. Oh, go ahead.
I'm confused. Is the prevailing theory here is that it deflected off the body armor in front or went directly in neck and the body armor contained it from the back view? the prevailing theory is cool thing that I think is cool is me and Gary have slightly different prevailing theories. Would you say? I mean, if would you say that's correct, Gary? Your prevailing theory is still the body armor.
Yeah. Well, look, I think it's an area that there's evidence for in my mind of what I'm seeing, and that I want to try to figure out if it's what I'm seeing is true or not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm grateful for you for having that because now you're investing time and effort and resources into going down that rabbit hole and investigating your own theory. And I think I'll learn something from that. We all will, regardless what you find. And so
Well,
for
I'm not
me,
just investigating that. I'm gonna again, that's gonna be part of it. Probably a smaller portion. The other thing I want to see is like if we can look at some of these different ammunition types in 30-06 and see if we can get similar results or close to it, if it even makes sense. Yeah, so that's like I'm interested in explaining the ballistics. There's multiple different anomalies in the ballistics that don't seem to make sense, and I really want to explore them all. And the problem, and I think why that's important, is because most of the current conspiracies hinge on, or at least kind of, again, they're kind of wrapped around like, hey, 30-06 couldn't have done what it did. And part of me doesn't disagree with that. So I think we need to, I don't know, kind of we just need more information. I think what is true is that some of the reasons that people jump from that, or some of the reasons they say it couldn't have done what it did or whatever else, like, is not based on real information, like logical information. So anyways, well, I want to explore all that.
yeah,
And that's my area of expertise. So that's like what I think is interesting. And, I want to, and it's something I feel like I can actually thoroughly vet.
totally.
Get that one.
Why didn't they show him
Oh,
actually?
we already played that. Hold on. There was some more that popped up. Send that.
Gents, what evidence do you rely on that Tyler did it? The only independent evidence we have is video, and that doesn't support Tyler's story. Yes, it does. More signs of cover-up than Tyler. Hope you come around. God bless you both. Well, the thing is, coming around to what? That implies there's some side to join. The only side I'm on is the side that I think, and I fully believe in my heart and my conviction that is to develop my own sense of truth that I'm willing to die on my own hill. I don't care about sides. So I don't care about coming around to nothing. If you can point me to something that points to something more logical, I will entertain it. And the videos do point towards Tyler. Tyler's the one sitting in jail. Tyler's the one that it looks like on the security cameras. Tyler's the one that got up and ran. Someone was on that roof running with the towel. Tyler's admitted to it in text. He's sitting in jail. I don't know. And you're telling me to believe something more other than that?
I think what he's alluding to is that we can all agree that obviously the video, number one, that could possibly not be Tyler, right? In those videos. That's fine. All right, I'll give you that. There's also, we could say that those texts were fabricated. Okay,
but
take that. But what doesn't get around is like we have a shot from the front. The physical evidence, the ballistics says that is the case. Is there a lot of questions around what happens once the shot makes contact with Charlie? I think that's true. We have to say that none of that. We are reliant a little bit on the FBI information saying that the guy in the videos is Tyler. Okay, there is it is possible that that's not. We are reliant on them saying, hey, these text messages are his. We're reliant on the evidence that we just read about, that not only do they find the same cartridges in his where he lived, and there was, evidence of targets being shot. So I guess if we get rid of all of that, you're not wrong, but we are, I guess, a little bit relying on some of that to be true. But what I can tell you for sure is that if we got rid of all that, what we can at least say is that Charlie Kirk was shot from the front. I mean, what can we say just looking at the video? We don't know anything else. We haven't seen any other of the CCTV footage, or we discount all of that. What are some things that I think we can say for sure based on the video that there's the best evidence for?
We can say from multiple sources, from independent cameras and FBI cameras, that there was a black figure 140 yards on a perfect direct line of sight corner of a roof that got up and ran after taking a frontal shot that was loud as hell, that cracked supersonic, that hit Charlie in the front and killed him, or unalived him. So we can say these things, right? And so, and the footage of the guy limping, walking up the stairs, although it's not the best quality, doesn't look that far off from the guy sitting in jail right now. So tell me another person or another story that makes more sense and connects the dots better.
That corroborates
than
the current accepted facts. Let's just say.
Yeah.
What I will say, I'm gonna give Payne Revere a little bit of props here. Number one, Payne Revere obviously, completely disagrees with us. He thinks we're way off, but I appreciate some civil discussion regardless of that. So that's good.
And Payne Revere, I saw the God bless at the end, and I just want to say thank you for that, and God bless yourself too.
Watch a power slap video and see how body and skin react to impact. All right.
Candace Owens is a blatant anti-Semite. Guaranteed she's going to blame Israel.
She does seem to default to that a lot. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Do you want me to go? Okay. Easy enough for you guys to obtain top of the line armor and see if you can hide it. And
yes.
That well under thin white t-shirt. No, Gary's on that. So he's coming for you with that.
Can you chronograph your tests at the vest? Yes, I've already done chronograph work, and all subsequent shots will be chronographed. The only conspiracy is coming from the FBI. The theory smells like a wet rat's bottom, and you two guys smell like feds. Not good ones either. Well, you can go watch some other podcast that isn't occupied by feds.
Go read Candace's story. Okay. Forensic said Tyler DNA found on gun at scene, right? Yes. That's another thing. I mean, that's counting on believing the FBI, which I know none of y'all do. And I'm just saying, if you take that, whether it's you give it a heavy weight or not, it lines up with the other things that are not needing to be proved by the FBI. So, yeah. But that is true. The DNA was found on his towel, gun, lots of things.
Gents, when in theater or sniping, how do you hide the shooter's position, misdirect the enemy, use decoys? Question mark. If this were a mill op, how would you plan it? Please ventilate this. You are doing God's work. Have courage.
I'm not answering that live. No way.
Well, here's what I'll say. It depends on what you're doing. If you're doing coverage from a direct action and you're providing coverage for that, you own the terrain. You have a cordon, so you're not trying to hide your location. In open areas, there are ways to hide your location, and I'll just tell you that decoys typically aren't part of that equation. Doing sniping operations in urban terrain, again, you might look for things like in the military. If we have multiple guys, if one person's acting as a decoy, it's compromising them too. There are ways to mask your sound signature, even without a suppressor, and there's lots of different ways to mask muzzle flash and minimize your exposure to the enemy. And if you can hide a muzzle from the enemy while still having a loophole to shoot through, especially in urban terrain, which is what we would consider this, it is very difficult to pinpoint your location. We'll leave it at that. Another tuber has done tests with bone composite armor, and I believe soft armor went through bone and diverted on both edges, shot to armor. Keep sending. You.
Troy Black Channel prophesied the Charlie Kirk situation 3 months before it happened. Is that true? I'll check that out. I'm
All
interested
right,
in
I'm gonna
that.
answer 5 more questions live. We got a call today. I got to do some training tomorrow, man. We got to train shooters how to shoot, and it's gonna be a good weekend. But the DJ of choice, I'm not sure if it was a prone shot. He doesn't look like he's wearing body armor. It doesn't look like World War I gun. He couldn't have dismantled it and put it back together. Too many inconsistencies. We'll just disagree on most of those. Gary, regarding your armor theory, with the shooter being above him, shooting downwards, do you think it's actually possible the bullet hit him and turn basically 90 degrees? It's not 90 degrees because I've already told you it's a 10-degree shot at most. So it is not 90 degrees. And what we're talking about is it following a bullet. A bullet ricochet is going to follow the angle of whatever it hit. So if he's at a slight downward angle, and it's very slight, it's 10 degrees, folks. I had a freaking thing over here. Anyways, and then we have armor that is curved, because it will be, all right? Any sort of concealable armor is going to be curved. All right, we are going to, even if it's a slight downward angle, if it hits like this, all right, it's still going to go upward. I don't know, this is not hard geometry to figure out. They're not going to show the whole world, the whole video of him shooting on the roof because they still have to go to court. And absolutely. With 6 officers on hand, most of them are on higher platform looking over the crowd. Wouldn't they recognize the sound being high powered and look for a sniper right away? Same with the military security. So they did. And we just heard reports today that a officer went to his location right away and found him. So a lot of what's interesting to me is we've seen a lot of these. Well, wouldn't this have happened? And then come to find out that exact thing happened that people find suspicious that it didn't happen. I think that's kind of an interesting point, or at least that's what we're told, right? I understand there's some people that aren't going to believe it no matter what, but that's at least what we're told. Mm-hmm. You guys are great. I have no answers either. Here's a recent Candace update. She's tenacious and bound by the truth as well. Take it or leave it. Here's breaking Candace video. You can't post links if that's what you tried to do in here. I like the fact that Candace is tenacious. I would like her even more, and she would have a little bit more credibility if she provided. I feel like the last 2 weeks, she's provided a bunch of things that are leading people on without any evidence whatsoever. And there probably was at a time where I thought Candace was such a honest broker that I wouldn't necessarily need evidence to generally take her word as fact. But there's been about 10 things during this that I'm just like, come on, okay, I'm willing to believe it. Just show me some evidence. And we haven't been getting it. So I'll tell you right now, Monday, she doesn't produce some evidence to back some of the things that she's saying, I'm going to have to write her off. I love you, Candace, but I unfriend you. All right. Marcus, don't go anywhere after the show. Make sure you guys subscribe. Please subscribe. That helps us out. We appreciate all of the super chats. We appreciate all the comments. We appreciate all the love, the support, and we even appreciate the hate. Anyways.
Keeps us sharp.
That's right. So subscribe, go follow us on Twitter, amongst all our other socials. All the links are down below in the description. And we really appreciate you guys watching tonight. One last super chat. People thinking there was no autopsy. It literally says in the court documents that they are waiting on the medical examiner's report. Whoa, well, that's a good piece of information we DJ'd in at the last second. We will follow up on that. And I would like to find court documents that confirm or deny that. That's a great piece of. This is why we watch. This is why we do these lives, folks. We all learned a bunch of things in real time. You guys provided links that we were able to show that gave us better information. The other night, you guys gave us a bunch of links and things like that we went through and looked at, information that is contradictory to what we are saying, and I feel like we sorted those out pretty well. But we really do appreciate it, folks. And we got more stuff coming. I'm working on a couple of videos back there, and a lot more ballistic testing coming too. So until next time, stay armed, stay ready. We'll talk to you.